I am back, right? Uh, you guys even see that? Stop. Oh, it's not even starting. Okay, gosh. Hold up, I'm so confused right now because it's been a fucking moment. Hold up. Oh yeah, yeah, that does dock me. Okay. Okay. There we go. Everything's fixed as it should be. Ba-dum, boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, there we go. So yeah, there's that. Fuck, how do I cover this? How do I cover this? Hold on. Yeah, so here we go. Here's the score. 60, right? And then here's the that was my midterm. This is the homework. Fucking bam. That was the homework. That was the midterm. Like I said, because I got a 60, he curved it. So that means literally I had a B. I am like in this awkward threshold between like actually yeah, yeah. And it's not even like I'll get like a oh actually yeah, it's not even like oh I'll get like a A. Hold up. 28, that's way too high. It's actually gonna be like 26. It actually only puts up my grade by probably like 1 point. Yeah, 26. So actually, we're gonna lose a shit ton right here. Yeah, 75. That's the highest grade I can expect. There we go. I did the math wrong. But yeah, who I don't even know. Like who the test is just so fucking confusing. It was like an algebra test basically. The second one was like it was like everything we learned last year, or excuse me, the first like class, but like nobody remembered, or at least I didn't remember. But like the point is, yeah, I'm probably gonna fail the midterm, right? Like I said, there's no ifs, ands, and ors about that, right? So close out of that. If you anyhow, so I don't even know what to do, what to watch. Um, cause like, oh, actually, I could play games, but like, I'm like, See, I've been okay. Like I've been watching a lot of weird shit too on my other channel. This one. What? Oh, okay. I'm like, where's the time limit? No, yeah, I've been watching a lot of weird shit, and it's just like, eh. It's like I don't want to watch any of that. Has barely sociable uploaded anything? Hold up, let's see if he's uploaded anything. Probably hasn't. Yeah, there's the phone one that we watched a while ago. Um, yeah. Hmm. Uh, yeah, I don't know. Chances are again, I don't feel this last right. But yeah, it's a lot. Dude, this guy's been around for a while. It's funny. Let's watch this one. Hold up. Let me. You all can hear that, right? Yeah, yeah. Probably very low though.
Mario the Idea versus Mario the Man.
Yeah.
Phil Jameson.
This is good.
Philosophy 101, 18th of February 2022, midterm 1.
This is what I feel like.
Everyone knows Mario is cool as fuck. Horrible opening. But who knows what he is thinking? Who knows why he crushes turtles? To save the princess? Also gross. And why do we think about him as fondly as we think of the mythical, non-existent Dr. Pepper?
Dr.
Perchance?
Pepper?
You
What the
can't just
fuck?
say perchance. I believe it was Kant who said experience without theory is blind. But
Oh my
theory
God.
without experience is mere intellectual play.
Dude, I hate
Mario
Kant.
exhibits experience by crushing turts all day.
Mhm.
Stop. But he exhibits theory by stating, let's a go. Keep it up, baby. When Mario
What
leaves
the
his
heck?
place of safety to stomp a turty, he knows that he may die. And yet, for a man who can
It's
purchase
like-
lives with money, a life
Who
becomes
just
a
says
mere store of
this?
value. Okay, a tax that can be paid for, much as a rich man feels any law with a fine is a price. Fine, we think of Mario as a hero, but he is simply a 1%er of a more privileged variety. Why
Okay.
are we saying this? The life kind. What? Perchance. F.
Yeah, that's how I feel right now. Just like, just like, dude, this guy's gonna correct my fucking final, and he's gonna be like, "What the fuck did you do?" I'm gonna be like, "I don't even know. I don't even know." Because like, I don't even know how this guy could just like, he looks at the fucking. Because this is how he's been teaching it too. Hold up, let me get Paint or Paint 3D, right? Literally, oh my god, hold up. I am going to be so disappointed. Um, where is? Oh yeah, here we go. Mario 3D Paint. Why did I say it like that? Hold on, let me check my thing. Oh. Rip camera Sag? Dude, you do not know about my day. I fucking failed my midterm. Failed it. But like that doesn't mean I failed the class. Ah, I did the extra credit. I did good in the first half. Yeah. It's because I want to show the fucking thing. How do I? Okay. First of all, hello Windows. Hello I keep on saying Mario instead of Paint 3D. What the fuck? Oh wow. Why is it invisible? Oh, that's not good. Oh no. That's the thing. They have to correct it until like Monday of next week. So I won't know until Monday of next week. Literally, this is gonna be me up to here with stress, being like, did I pass this class? Did I pass this class? I was not the only one like that. I like the person that went in front, that got out of the room earlier than me, was waiting for the elevator, and I got there in time to talk with them. I was like, "How'd you do in the test?" He was like, "I fucking failed it. I know I failed the class because I did bad in the first midterm." And I'm like, "Oh fuck, I don't have the privilege. Excuse me. I don't have the feelings he's going through because he must be going through worse, right? Because I passed the midterm, I did good on the first test, I did all the homeworks, and all to lose like 30% probably. I mean, it's gonna be like I'm gonna gain like 1% of the 30%, but like, it's just horrible. Where? Okay, is there like a drawing app on like Google? Let's just do that. There we go. No, like this is what I'm telling you. Hold up. Oh my god. Okay, this is so annoying. Hold up. Let me see if I can get it. Klecky.com. Klecky's solid. Okay. It better not be like anything fucking weird. I'm just joking. Okay. So this is the fucking circuit I have. Right? This is the circuit I have, right? Is there like a way to like grab this? Okay, the point is in the transfer domain, this is 1 over C SC. This is R. How you get a how you what you can do is essentially hold up. Essentially, you transform all that into one block called the Z, whatever the fucking is an impedance, and essentially this is what you have. Hold up, I cannot draw S's. C plus R. Right, this is what you have. By the way, thank you for the website. This is what you have, right? Essentially, but they're like, okay, well, you can do that, right? Obviously, a little kid can fucking do that, right? So they're like, okay, but in the circuit you have here, what is the voltage across here? But I'm just here, sit here and understand and act like I understand. Trust me, that was, I'm pretty sure, like 20% of the class. Because this fucking professor was not like, at this node, we have a current going like that. Let's call this I1. No. This guy was just like, oh yeah, this is obvious to all of us, right? So essentially, what we have here is 1 over SC plus R, all that over R, and this is the transfer function. Now, if we divide by R, we have 1 over 1 R SC plus 1. And then, like, here, we just multiply by RSC and we have RSC 1 plus RSC. And it's like, okay. It's like, excuse me? Is that a double fraction? Yes, that's a fucking double fraction. And then they're like, okay, so now that you have this, what's W naught? Okay, W naught RSC. I don't even fucking know. Something like that. W naught equals RC 1 over RC, right? In this case, it is true. 100% true. So then, what happens to this function as s goes to 0? Well, you get 0 over 1, so that equals 0, right? You think that's easy, right? Oh, fuck. How do I erase everything? Let's get white. Oh, I'm so bad with this. Oh, man. Wait, which? Yeah, there we go. Filled in. Right? Yeah, thank you. To the right, to the top of the logo, yeah. All right. Now, do you think that circuit's bad? Oh shit! Yeah, I forgot. Oops. Essentially, I ended up getting a circuit similar to this. This is SL. This is R. 1 over SC3. 1 over SC2. 1 over SC 1. Excuse me, this is 2. This is not from the final. This is just something very similar to it, right? Um Essentially that was my fucking problem. And I don't even know where to begin with this one. It's like we can add these up. We can do whatever the fuck this is. And then add that with 1 over SC3 plus R plus SL. Have that just be your denominator. Exactly. No. And this is how he was explaining it to me. So imagine me how I just like feel the final. I'm like, holy shit, how the fuck do I do this? It's insane. And this is like to like any other person in any other school, I'm pretty sure this is a fucking easy ass circuit to fucking finish or something, right? So that was one of my circuits. It only gets worse from there because like because like the rest of them were easy and I just didn't know how to and remember how to do that. So like essentially because this one has like all 3 types, I just like gave up. Fucking, I was just like, you know what? Oh, this is an easy way to race. Cool. Okay. Oh, what was I gonna say? um, I'm just like, oh wait, oh fuck, wrong color. I'm like, oh yeah, it's a band pass. Because I'm pretty sure the fucking formula I got for that was like mega fucking wrong because it was essentially 1 over SC, you know, that whole fucking mess I just wrote earlier. And I was just like, oh yeah, H naught equals 0. Oh, without even getting the right formula. It's just so bad. So bad. So this is where I'm at. This is why I'm like, does anybody have any videos to send me anything weird? I don't care if it's scary or not. And also, I had a migraine while I was taking the fucking finals, so there's that too. GG's. Um, yeah. Dude, oh my god, that thing's coming back. The heater. Yeah. So, literally, I just like I can like if you know electrical engineering because this is an electrical engineering class that computer engineers need to take, right? Because computer engineering is part of electrical engineering. So it basically goes like I don't know. It's just like electrical engineering is like a vast thing, right? A vast major. Let's right here. Draw on white ink. This is electrical engineering, and here's computer engineering. It's much smaller, and then from here you have electronics engineering. And then you have like a bunch of other shit, right? You have a bunch of other offshoots and stuff like that. I can only imagine what a fucking mechanical engineer thinks, because a lot of the mechanical engineers, they go to their major thinking they're gonna work on fucking robots, but like 10 times out of 10, it's these guys working on robots. So like, literally, I don't even know what the fuck mechanical engineers learn, but I'm pretty sure because like they have to know shit about forces and stuff like that. It's like way worse. But like at least they have like little shortcuts that they can see. Where like in electrical engineering classes, they're just like electricity flows from positive to negative, but in physics it flows from negative to positive, guys. And it's like what does that even mean? What does that even mean? Right? Because like in like a regular physics class dealing with like force and stuff, they're like, you punch, you exert force, right? That makes sense. And then like there's like magnetism. Oh my god, there's all that other bullshit. There's current. And it's just like it's such a you can't really understand that in my opinion unless like you like spend your whole life dedicated to like these one classes that probably won't even be applied unless like you go for like power engineering or something like an electric engineering, which I'm probably not gonna do unless like I want to get into like robotics, which I'll probably have to do. But yeah, true story. Fucking worst class ever. Like final wise. And now I have my math class left, which is where essentially I have to go. Where is it? Oh, wrong color. Where essentially I have to take the integral of that. And yeah, that's easy. Cause like actually, if you all want to know something cool, I may be using R in the wrong as the like it's just like the wrong symbol probably. If y'all didn't know, this integral basically means you're just taking area. So if you have 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, this is essentially length by width by height, which means 1 by 2 by 3, which equals 6. Due to Green's theorem. That's right. Algebra in a math class, in a calc class. That's the only one I know and remember by heart. Because ain't no way I'm gonna remember all that. Anyhow, yeah, Algebra 2 is giving me enough trouble. Fuck yeah, it gets better. Trust me, no, like I get you not. It gets better because like, the reason why I'm like freaking out is because like the class, the statistics class, I'm taking like 2 years later. Like I'm kidding you not. That's like bad. It's like well, not 2 years later, more like a year, right? I took it my first year. No, yeah, that is like almost 2 years later. Yeah, like a year and a half later. It's because like when like you take like all your math classes together, right? You like start getting like a semblance of like, oh, everything's kind of going together, right? The same thing is in college, right? Especially that's why they ask you to take like a math class your last year of college. That way you don't forget the math over the one semester, 1 year, in your final year of high school, right? And what was I gonna say? God, I'm like happy with all this stuff, but like, ooh, the circus class I should have taken sooner, but I couldn't because I failed Calc 2. And it's like, what the fuck? Also, I just like wanted down all this. Hmm. So yeah, that's it. And honestly, Calc 3 is the only calculus class that makes sense because it all comes together. It literally does. Like all these other calc classes, or like Or like, hold up. They're like, take the Taylor series of this and then integrate it to see what the limit is. And it's like 1 plus 1 over x. No. Plus x 1 factorial. Right, because it's 0 factorial, 1 factorial. Oh, excuse me. I don't even fucking know. Like, I don't remember the Taylor series. Ain't nobody care about the Taylor series. Like, I'm not even killing. Like, yelling. Oh my god. Sine x. Ain't nobody cares about the fucking Taylor series. This is what I'm fucking talking about. It's like, who the fuck? What type of maniac fucking does this? X minus x cubed divided by 3 factorial? Like, what? If you all want to see this on Desmos too, x plus x divided by 3 factorial plus x divided by 5 factorial. And yeah, the power increases too. 5 factorial plus x to the power 7 divided by 7 factorial plus x to the power of 8 divided by 9 divided by 9 factorial. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, the closer you get, the better the angle. And it's like, no, it's like bullshit. Yeah, the better we get, the closer we get, the better the angle, right? And it's like, nobody does that. Nobody does that. Exactly. That hurt my brain in fucking Calc 2, and that's the fucking reason I failed Calc 2. Calc 3 doesn't even fucking utilize that, at least in my school. Like, fucking literally. And then they're like, oh yeah, trig substitution? You guys know how to do that. Yeah, we're not doing that in this class. And it's like, why do we even know this? I need to know this. Oh yeah, and it's minus. It's minus too, so like it alternates the signs. There we go, right? Sin x minus. Yeah, like literally x minus x to the power of 11. You know, I can keep on going. I feel like something's off here though. Huh. Yeah, so this seems to be off here. But the point is, like, yeah, this is it. It's like stupid shit like that. It's like, ain't nobody doing that. If at all, they're like sine of x equals x. They're like sine of x equals x, guys. Like, I'm not even kidding. Anyhow, that's enough on the math side of things, right? Um, yeah, like I said, it's probably a 75 that I'm gonna end up with. Not a bad score, but I'm like under a contract. I can't get a C apparently. If I get a C, they're gonna talk to me. So if I get a stern talking to, listen, guys, I took 8 fucking classes. I took 8 classes. Oops. Alright, whatever. Yeah, I took 8 classes. And this is my grade, 100%. This is gonna fall down. So that one's gonna go to a C, right? This one's gonna stay like that. It's at 85. This one's already a 97. This one's gonna fucking probably go up to a C. This one's gonna fall down to a C probably. This is gonna actually be really high. Probably like a B plus or B. Just because like it's just philosophy. They're gonna grade you all fucking stupidly. This is gonna probably be a solid B by the end of the year. And yeah, literally it classes. I don't know what the fuck they're expecting from me, right? I can't be Mr. Perfect and get B's and A's, right? And like, I can't really blame streaming because like I haven't really streamed that often. Like I swear. So yeah, this is why if something goes bad, I'm probably gonna put my all into streaming during December. So I'm probably gonna stream every day, right? Find a game or whatever to stream about, and yeah. So let's get started with actually a game, probably. I'm just so done. Oh yeah, the Christmas shit. Hold up. Ta-da! Why did my calendar pop up? Excuse me? Excuse me, Mr. Calendar? Hold up. Where is okay? First of all, what? There we go. It's Christmas time. I think I could just turn this on. Uh, where is my controller? eh, eh. But the reason why I'm bringing up I can't get a C is because literally my scholarship for $4,000 just came in today or tomorrow. I don't know, something like that, and it can get revoked if I get like a C or whatever. And it's like, you know what? If I wasn't meant for this shit, I wasn't meant for this shit. So I'm not touching any of that until Friday, until I know what my grades are. Until then, like I'm just done. I'm done. It's like I worked so hard to get into a program, and now I'm probably gonna get kicked out unless like something happens. It's just like okay, dang. Dude, where is my controller? So there's like new Mario Kart tracks that I literally have not gotten except for Rainbow Road, I think. So we'll try that. Oh fuck, did I not save this? Dude, did I not save? Why did I not save? Hold up, let me go to the restroom fast. I'll be back in a moment. So I bought this eraser and I was gonna show you all, but I don't know where I left it. This is not in my pocket. The point is, I spent that thing, Pokemon Violet and Scarlet Nuzlocke. I already did it. Yeah, if you didn't know, I already did a Nuzlocke on this game. I ended up losing to the ghost guy, and I think I gave myself another chance. Yeah, I already did this. This is already done. This is just for Pokemon. Like I think last time I played on stream, hardcore Nuzlocke. Then what do you mean? I can't erase the file because that file is actually the file I'm actually gonna use. And I'll be honest, there's a lot of games coming out like January. I mean, a lot of games I have to finish so far because I have to finish Metroid Prime still. Um, and all that. But I am gonna get back to Pokemon probably next year. On summer if I can. And in summer I probably won't even be in my house because I'll probably be like interning somewhere else. And at a university if everything goes through well. Oh my god, I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. uh so yeah, I saved, right? Okay, so Cool. So let's play on Mario Kart. Oh yeah, I forgot it's so low because of this. Dude, I hope to God he just grades them in class today. I haven't played Mario Kart in a solid minute. I know, right? Me either. Because my sister got sick. That's why I was like all over the place. I think last week. Yeah, and I couldn't play on the Switch. Actually, for the last few weeks. Yeah, last 2 weeks. Gosh, it was annoying because I had to go back to balloons, and I'm like, because like literally, it's just little kids that come in. Versus race. No, I don't even know. I'm still like, why not stream like an older Pokemon through an emulator like Emerald? I've already done that. I have Black and White done. I have Pokemon Scarlet. I did that with Omega Ruby and Sapphire. Excuse me, just like Omega Ruby. I've done a lot of Pokemon as recently, actually. If at all, you know, my mod, what's his name? One of my mods is always like, you gotta play Zelda game next. And honestly, I do have to play a Zelda game next. So that's probably something I'll look into doing last, actually, unfortunately. Because those games tend to be a little longer. At least for me and how I play them. And how I have the background because it's Christmas. But yeah, no, because like, also, like, you gotta think about it like this. Play Twilight Princess, that's what I was thinking. But chances are I'm probably gonna end up playing Skyward Sword just because it's on the Switch. If not, I may just end up buying it. Oh my god, I just may end up buying it on the Wii U before it like goes out of like style because style. You know what I mean, right? Like it's gonna shut down eventually. And what was I gonna say? Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things from Skyward Sword, and honestly, I've seen Let's Plays and stuff. So like, I'm not even gonna go blind into it. I just know what's gonna happen. But I'll act like I'm playing it blind for the first time. So I'll be like, oh my god! Zelda? Link? Who are those people, guys? I've never played a Zelda game! Oh my god! Is that Impa? What is she doing in this game, guys? Dumb for content? Yeah, exactly. that would be the move, though, right? Am I wrong? Like I swear, that would be the move. Like I wouldn't be wrong for doing it. Speaking of which, I have actually invested in a camera recently. Nice. What sort of camera did you get? Because I just use my phone as a camera, honestly. But like, like you know, having a camera is actually pretty good because like you probably get like better white balance. Because here I am turning like red to blue. And then some normal webcam, which I can use for like hand cam now. Hand cam. What do you mean, like you're holding the camera while you're streaming? Are you gonna do like IRL stuff? Or like you mean like, oh shit. No. Okay. No, this fucking gold mushroom. No, that's good either way. He's having a camera. It's just to stream. Like show my keyboard, mouse, because I play rhythm games a lot. Oh, okay, I understand that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. You know, to be honest, I was seeing because like you know, like I guess like when I hear like hand cam, I like think like old style, right? Like you know, you have your big ass bulky camera, right? You're just like, hey guys, today I'm recording a vlog for YouTube. Say hi, everybody. Say hi. You know what I mean? That's what I think a hand cam is. I got one for 1080p, 30 FPS for like 30. That is a steal. Is the compression good though? Like, you know, different, like, I guess, like, softwares and stuff, right? Come into play. I mean, still $30 is a fucking bargain. And I mean, like, they're just gonna be looking. All they need is authentication that you're clicking, right? Like, they don't need to, like, see your fucking. I could just. I had great reviews. Yeah. That's what I thought. What was I gonna say? Um, I can just imagine one day I'm just like, guys, I'm gonna get a hand cap, right? Just like for the lols. I'm just here eating Cheetos and Takis, right? And my hands are all fucking red, and it's like 4K resolution for some fucking reason. You all see like every little crack on my hand, and like the fucking Taki dust. That'd be so. I don't know, but part of me is like, that's like cringe, but like gamer, 4K 144 FPS cap. Like at that point, it's like why do you need a 4K 144p? Excuse me, FPS cap? It's like, it doesn't make sense, right? Like, you can't even upload that much to like Twitch. Twitch will probably just render it at like 1080p. Buonissimo! Woohoo! I don't even know how he sounds. Yeah, my migraine's coming back. So like, if I start like talking all funky or just looking like I'm out of it, you know, it's just my migraine. I don't even have anything to do tomorrow besides study. What is that? Dude, I'm telling you, finals are just not my thing. I did good the midterm. I wish fucking professors didn't put like 30% on the fucking final. Like, even if they called it a midterm and put 60% on it, I'd be happy. You know what I mean? My God, me in finals always drop the ball. Ah! Okay, this map is just like a fucking fever dream. Am I right or am I wrong? Oh God, and like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just like, yeah, go inside the ice cream cone, fucking trick off here. Shit. Through half the objects, so like, dude, like, I'm so confused. Cause like, you know, like this. It's like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, where do I go? What's the optimal route? I honestly haven't researched anything. That sword. I'm just getting screwed over by the fact that I don't even know this map. Why do you do the red shell backwards? Okay, that's fine. We beat Roy Levi. I think that was his name anyways. Oh my God. No, I need like an eye massage, I swear. You know, the part about the midterm is like, I fell asleep. I did a problem in my fucking dream. I kid you not. I was like dreaming of my fucking homework and midterm. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get 50%. Let's go, right? Oh God, it's just like, Jesus. I don't even know. It's just, I don't even want to talk about it. Yeah, I'm gonna get some like gum. They'll probably sedate me. Some of this gum. This gum's actually kind of like eh. Oh wait, no. You know, I crave Bazooka Joe's gum. I don't know if you've all had that type of gum. It's super thick. Pretty good. They went out of business, Herman. I think they might have gone back into business. Shit. Oh wow! Yeah, what a way to start the map. Okay. So essentially, today I should be like obviously studying, I guess, but like I said, I already pretty much studied the math test. The homework I don't even need to do because like I've had like 30 assignments pretty much, and not doing like 2 doesn't hurt my grade at all. Ew. This map gets trippy near the end. Oh wow. I kind of shot myself, huh? Shot myself in the foot. And this part honestly reminds me of Rainbow Road the most. Oh, what? Gosh. Ba-dum-bum. I need to start going through VODs. Like I say I will, and actually upload to YouTube. You should upload your VODs, yeah. I'm gonna upload some of mine to YouTube over the break. But you don't get that many viewers, though. I'll tell you that. My VODs are like 3 hours, 2 hours long. And like you rarely get viewers. Sometimes you get together, it's like, oh wow, this shadow's good, but then they never watch another VOD. And yeah, that's it. That's literally what's happening with my VOD channel. I get like nothing. Full VODs, like just like stream highlights. If highlights is what you should do, yeah. I don't do highlights because I don't want to do editing. I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm opening something up because I'm probably gonna do math homework somehow. Yeah, 2 assignments. One of them was like out of 5. And I'm just like, do I really want to do this? Actually, probably do. So after this game, I'll probably just react to something like on YouTube and I'll just have it in the background. By the way, actually, I have a good question for you. What do people like you watch on YouTube nowadays? In the sense that like, you know, like actual YouTube, not like anybody that like streams, like Ludwig or anything like that. Because like, you know, growing up there were so many different personalities, and they're still around, some of them. Pokemon challenges, okay. Is there any like specific YouTubers? It's like, I'll be honest, back then I think Verlisify used to be popular, but like he's pretty problematic nowadays, I'm pretty sure. Like, you know, I don't want to steal content, but like I want to react to something, maybe like a documentary or something in the background. Or like Reddit mystery videos, something like that. If you have anything like that, you want to like, maybe like show on stream, that'd be cool. Cause like, you know, growing up, I used to watch like Chuga Connery, right? Just for like the Let's Play videos. I used to watch like some other channels for like humor stuff. Reddit react in your own subreddit, except I'm the only one who posts, so it's just all my memes. Yeah, right? What's that one guy? Isn't his name like Beluga or something? Doesn't he do that? Isn't he well known for doing that? Oh wow. Oh no, he just shit posts, okay. I thought he was one of fucking doing that on his own. Oops. Please be just finding the divergence. Please be finding the divergence. Please be finding the divergence. Please, please, please. Are any of these just like 0? None of these are 0. Fuck. Oh, I feel content is hard to find nowadays. It's not actually that hard. I'll prove it. What is something you want to learn about? I'll search it up right now. It's just we want to find it through somebody that we know. Like, oh, Jay Schlatt is doing a Reddit mystery dive-in or whatever, you know what I mean? I can hardly dedicate a stream to one game now. I'm streaming this game, man, and other stuff. It's just because, like, I don't want to get started on Metroid because, that game takes a little longer to, like, 100%. And, like, you know, I feel like I'm wasting my time when I stream during the, school year. Because I don't play, like, long games during the school year. It's because, like, I feel like switching between games stems between, like... I mean, you get viewers, unlike me? Because, like, it's pretty much set in stone that you and, my mods that sometimes come in here are, like, the only viewers, honestly. Because I know for, like, some streamers, it can definitely be, like an issue with, like, the audience, right? Like, they're like, oh, my audience doesn't like this type of video, so I won't watch this type of video, right? Oh, shit. That was my fault. Oops. Dude, I was so good at Mario Kart, now I'm so fucking bad. What happened? No, but for real though, it can be that. Watch dark. You're washed out? Oh no. I mean, it's probably not that. Like, personally, I don't feel like people go through, like, archetypes or, like, stuff like that. Or, like, you know, I guess, like, eras. I feel like people just set themselves in eras instead. And that's, like, a way of limiting themselves. I don't know, it's just my belief system. It's fucked. That's right. Get out of here, Donkey Kong. Please be a 0. Please be a 0. Shit. Please be a 0. -3 rating. Time to uninstall the game. Sash. Oh my god. Imagine the Flux is 0. Damn it. Flux can't be 0 though. Time to end. And then start watching YouTube videos. Yeah, because I have to do my homework, so I'm gonna change it to like doing my fucking homework this stream. Where is this? Homework stream, exactly. You're gonna hear me ranting in the background. Like in essence, I am kind of studying, so like there's that. Oh, fun fact! Fun fact! Did you know? Did you know? Actually, this is a lot. You can't get a C in grad school. But the point is that like, oh god, this is so annoying. This is so annoying. So let's see. I need my. Oh no, but my pen is bulky as hell. Well, I just need a lead pencil. I need a bunch of. So we're gonna be watching Reddit mystery videos. I don't even know. Hopefully not TOS. Mexican food mukbang stream one. I just ate pozole. I can't eat pozole on stream. No, like I'm not even kidding you. It's because like pozole gets everywhere. And listen, if I had the money, I would. But also, I'm like, right now I weigh 163. Excuse me, not 163. Oh my god! Imagine if I weighed 163, I'd be like underweight. No, I weigh like 263. There you go. That's more like it, right? It's gonna fuck me up. mm. Let's see. Um, we can listen to this stuff. But yeah, no, but like I'll be honest though, I would be down to do one. But like I said, I just all I need is like the money. What is this? Oh, it's the other window capture. Yeah, no. So like, if there's any Oilers in chat and they want to order me some food, I'm just saying. So yeah, let's just listen to this. You're a little loud. If anything weird comes up, please make sure to tell me.
I've worked as a nurse in multiple hospitals and facilities. Before the current hospital I work at, I worked at a geriatric hospital 30 minutes from my house. I had experience working with older patients before, so this was nothing new to me. I had been working at this hospital for only a couple of weeks, and you'll soon understand why.
God damn, this is so loud.
Last shift at this hospital, unbeknownst to me at the start of that night. I was working the graveyard shift, and I was running on negative hours of sleep.
Negative hours of sleep?
The patients in this ward absolutely adored me. My presence.
Do you run on negative hours of sleep? What the fuck does that? What does that even mean? I'm okay. Like I get that means like you're extremely sleep deprived or like you need sleep, right? But like, it's just like I can imagine somebody saying, "I'm running on negative 999 hours of sleep." Do you know who I am? It's just like flexing that. Yeah, I haven't slept for like the last 3 years of my life. So what?
If you're just left to yourself, you can mentally go to other places, but with someone else in your space, you're tied to that moment in time. I was dealing with a number of patients that night, but one was.
Do you know who I am? You're basically clinically insane. Yeah, at that point.
She kept telling me anytime I'd enter her room about the voices she kept hearing and the man dressed in black
Oh my god.
in the corner of the room.
Shut up, that's scary.
Requested her curtain be closed before my shift started so that Lena would leave her alone. She was a sweet lady lady that smiled whenever I was around her, but she didn't say much and was very forgetful. Since I started my shift around 9 p.m., most of the patients were asleep by 11, but not Lena. Whenever she called me into the room, she'd be frightened of these alleged voices she was hearing, and the man in
Oh, that's
black
sad.
staring at her in the corner of the room. Not
Oh,
gonna lie,
that's
it was
sad.
creeping me out a little. I believe that in her mind she was seeing and hearing these things, and I sympathized with her
Mhm.
because I imagined them to be very scary. But still, I tried my best to calm her down and get her to go to sleep. I didn't want to turn on the TV to calm her down because I wanted to be courteous of the other patient in the room. I held Lena's hands and told her it's okay, to breathe and to relax. I reminded her that she wasn't
Okay,
here alone.
I know this is
She
a
was always
pretty
just a call away.
like sad
Maybe it was
fact,
a trick,
but once a lot of
but
people
it
start
was
seeing
for a
like
while.
stuff and
Next time
voices
I
and
came
start
in the
hearing stuff
room,
like that,
she was asleep.
that usually means you're gonna pass away
Once
soon.
most, if not all, of the patients are asleep,
And it's a
life
sad
goes
thing.
much slower. Time almost moves in reverse. An hour or two later, I was in the linen room stocking my cart when I heard something in the room. It was a relatively small, dead quiet room. I had the door closed too. That's why hearing another
Mhm.
noise was weird. I turned, saw nothing, and resumed stocking.
So,
my
at
cart.
least that's the story of my family.
I felt
Now, once you start
uneasy
seeing stuff,
inside,
you're like
maybe a hand
gone.
on my shoulder.
Usually.
I looked at my shoulder, jumped, and screamed, but there was nothing on my shoulder. There
Mhm.
was no one in the room. Yet, I knew I felt something large basically grab my shoulder. I went out in the hall for a second to peek my head. No other nurses in sight. Dead quiet. I had nothing else to do but resume what I was doing. I continued stocking the cart until it was full. Then I turned to face the door, and I fell to the floor and started screaming.
Oh my
until air
God.
was immediately in my throat. There was a man dressed in black standing outside the door, looking through the glass, smiling. My screams were loud enough to wake the entire ward. The man
That is
disappeared out of sight
insane.
through the glass window of the door. Seconds later, the door opened and one of my fellow nurses came in to help me off the floor as I was hysterical.
Mm-hmm.
I asked her if she saw the man dressed in black. Her response was, "What man? There's no one else here."
Dude, that'd be freaky. Let's go in 12 hours. Thank you for coming by. I hope this shit doesn't scar you. Catch you another stream. Yep. Um, you have school in 5 hours. Oh my god, I forgot. You're like in the UK, right? I wasn't paying attention long. Okay, wouldn't it be scary if like you just come back? No, you're in New York. You're at school at 5 a.m. What? That sucks. Well then, catch you later. Oh, you had to get up at 5 a.m. Even then, when I had zero period or whatever the hell it was called, when you have school from like 7 to like 8, I never woke up at 5. I always woke up at 6. But yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah, 6:30. So you gotta eat, shower, everything. Yeah, I get it. Oh my god, that mirror is so fucking bent out of shape. But yeah, see you later then. I hope you have a good day then. Or good night, excuse me. Then I'm out of it. But yeah, thank you for coming by. We're gonna be listening to these scary stories and
All the
other
rooms in the ward,
stuff.
There wasn't anybody dressed in black in there.
Mhm.
My screams woke Lena from whatever light sleep she must have been in, and when I came into her room, she started talking of the voices.
Mhm.
This time the screams, which she didn't know were my screams. I asked her what this man in black looked like, if he was smiling, and she looked at me, and I noticed her eyebrows point down, as her expression changed to look the most focused I'd seen her the entire day. She asked, "How did you know?" And even with my heart still racing, I felt it skip a beat as she said this.
God.
She started screaming now, screaming, "Get me out of here, he's coming." The other nurses came in and tried to calm her down. I was switched to a different ward that night with someone else, and I eventually ended up going home early because I was just so freaked out.
Mhm.
I texted the head nurse the next day that my next shift would be my last, that the experience traumatized me, and that I didn't
Mhm.
really want to be in that building anymore. I got as friendly of a response as I could have hoped for. I've never been diagnosed with anything. Nor
Yeah.
have I ever dealt with hallucinations of any kind. I'm aware of the effects of lack of sleep, but this was next level.
Mhm.
I don't know if my mind started playing tricks on me from what Lena was telling me all night, but the feeling of the hand on my shoulder, the The image of the smiling man behind the glass door, matching the description a patient kept giving multiple times. This was one of those once-in-a-lifetime, unexplainable supernatural occurrences.
Right?
At
Like,
least, I
fuck
hope it was
that.
once in a lifetime. Before the next story, I want to thank Guardio for sponsoring this video. Stories like the ones you hear on this channel are the reason why you need to be vigilant of your surroundings. But many people spend a majority of their time on the internet, so it's also important to be vigilant regarding
Yeah,
the
so
safe
C
browsing the web.
equals 1.
Guardio is an easy-to-use browser extension that, simply put, keeps you safe from scams and identity theft, so that you can do what you do online without worrying. By using Guardio, you'll protect your online browsing and information, avoid installing malware and falling victim to scams, and you'll get real-time alerts on any device when your information could be at risk. Everybody's encountered dangerous and annoying pop-ups while browsing the web. Guardio will immediately block any sites and providers that send you malvertising pop-ups so you can browse in peace.
Why
Being
is
a
this
YouTuber
stuff?
means hours of work online, so I wasn't too surprised when Guardio showed me all the existing threats on my system. Right now, Guardio is offering a special deal for my viewers. 20% off the monthly subscription if you use my link. So if you want a clean and secure browsing experience, go to guard.io/Mr. Nightmare. Link in the description, and check out.
Well, if you want to do that, go do that, right?
3 years ago, I contracted bacterial meningitis.
Holy
I live
shit.
in South Florida.
This was.
I don't believe there
This
was
is already starting off well.
So I'm not sure how I caught it or who I could have caught it from. I started developing really bad
Oops.
symptoms, painful headaches, confusion, sleepiness, nausea, and lack of appetite. But when the hallucinations started, that's when I knew I had something really serious.
Yeah.
Laying sick in bed while my husband was at work, I heard a child's voice call Mom from downstairs.
What the fuck?
We don't have any kids. I dragged myself.
That
out of
is
bed to
scary.
look
Oh my
at
god.
my husband's name. Of course, he didn't answer because he was at work. The headache I had from standing was too much, so I went back to bed. For a second time, I heard a voice call from downstairs. It said hello. I picked up the phone and called my husband.
Fuck
Freaking out, I
that.
announced the phone that I was hearing a scary child's voice from inside the house, and that I thought I was hallucinating. He heard how distressed I was over the phone, and so he left work early to bring me to the hospital. While waiting for him to get home, I changed out of my pajamas, and while doing so, I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. As I was
Jesus.
mid-throwing up, I heard another voice from outside of the bathroom. I couldn't hear what it might have said, nor could I tell if it sounded the same as the other voice I heard. I was losing my mind. I wasn't diagnosed until I arrived at the hospital, and apparently, if untreated, what I had could be very serious, even fatal. The doctor told me the hallucinations part was rather unusual, but not unheard of. I was given antibiotics through a needle shortly after I arrived at the hospital with my husband. The doctor told me that I was fortunate to have come to the hospital so quickly, as if I had waited much longer, this could have had lasting effects or possibly have been fatal.
Oh my
My husband
god.
stayed with me for a few hours in the room. I was told I was going to have to stay there for a few days to a week, given the severity of my symptoms. Around 10 o'clock, my husband left to go home, as he had work the next day. The nurse told me call her if I should have any issues. Though I still felt like absolute death.
That is
I got it over pretty
sad.
quickly. I started having this dream where my ex-husband was in the room, over my bed, looking down at me, talking. He was saying horrible things about my current husband. He patted my head and said that he
Jesus.
was glad I was okay, and that he came as soon as he saw my husband left. He went into this rant about how he despises my current husband and wants to kill him. He kept rubbing my forehead, then left the room. I often have bad dreams about my ex-husband because of how toxic and abusive our marriage was,
Oh
and
my
why it ended,
god.
which I'd rather not include. I woke up in this drowsy, lightheaded state and looked around the room.
That
There was
is
a chair pulled up
horrible.
in front of my hospital bed, but no one was sitting in it. It wasn't like that when my husband left. It was still the middle of the night, so I went back to sleep.
Oh man.
I woke up the next morning to
No,
the
but
nurse in
this
the
should
room.
be gone.
I told her about the weirdly vivid dream I had, and she laughed and told me that wasn't a dream, that my cousin came to visit me last night. I told her I don't have any cousins that live in this state. She looked more serious now and said, well, someone who said they're your cousin David visited you late last night. David was the name of my ex-husband.
What the
After
fuck?
explaining better, the nurse got a doctor, and the doctor told me the antibiotics may have caused delirium, which hindered my ability to recognize sleep from wakefulness, hence why I was so vividly hearing what David was saying. I called my husband to tell him what happened, and of course he was livid and concerned. He came
Oh
back
my
to pick me up
god.
after work. But that
That
day,
is
I texted David asking what
disgusting.
the hell he was thinking visiting me, and how did he know I was in the hospital.
Uh-huh.
My text delivered, but he ignored it. I sent a follow-up, telling him I heard all of his threats towards my husband and that I'd be getting police involved. And minutes later, he responded saying, I never made any threats towards your husband. I was simply there when I heard what happened to make sure you were okay. You must have heard things in your sleep. I responded, stay out of my life or I'll get police involved again. He didn't
Jesus.
respond after this. I never told my husband about the threats I heard in my drowsy, half-asleep state, because I didn't know if they were real or not. With a mix of the antibiotics and my already having weird audible hallucinations the day before, I think
Yeah.
it's impossible that what I heard wasn't actually what was said. But
God,
I could be
that's
wrong.
fucking
I
crazy.
left the hospital the next week.
Okay, let me see. So
I
let's
once
see.
matched this girl that I'm still friends with on Tinder named Francesca. She seemed cool right from the bat. She had a sleeve of tattoos on her left arm, red highlights in her hair, and she had in her profile that she loved to work out. One of her pictures was taken on the rooftop of this cool looking building with a sick view. I asked her where it was, and she told me it was some abandoned hospital on the edge of town that's super cool to explore at night and super easy to get into. There's usually one cop patrolling the huge parking lot at night to deter
God,
trespassers.
I'm like, oh,
But she said it was
y
super
equals z
easy to circle
squared.
there. She came up with the idea of us going there together as our first date of sorts, if you want to use the word date. I was totally on board with it. She seemed cool, and it seemed like a cool, different kind of way to meet someone as opposed to the usual let's get drinks. I picked her up from her house 10 minutes away. We drove the 20 minutes to get to the hospital. Those 20 minutes gave us a nice chance to get to know each other a bit and get comfortable with each other's personalities for a little. When we got to the hospital, she told me to park on this dead-end street hidden by a bunch of tall bushes.
That's a little weird
So we
already.
walked to the inside of the hospital. We hopped this little barrier separating the road from the hospital parking lot, and then we jogged across the wide open lot towards the grass right next to the
That's
entrance
wild.
she said she always used. She led us to this broken window to the basement of the hospital. It seemed kind of creepy, but I signed up for this. I was glad I wore raggy jeans like she told me to, because I knew I was going to rip them on something. We used our phone flashlights. We didn't bring any special heavy-duty lights or anything. She seemed to know this whole hospital like the back of her hand. She led us to the stairway to the upstairs.
Arcos
I
plus
gotta
R
say, being
sign.
alone with one other person in a place like this at night was very scary. But I had no idea how scary it was about to get. On the first floor, Francesca kept talking
doesn't
so
make sense.
loud that I almost wanted to tell her to shh. I was paranoid we'd be
Oh
found
my
out
God,
because
right?
of her voice. Down the corridor we
No,
were,
because that is
it
loud.
sounded like a door was opening or closing. Something
Oh,
echoed down the corridor
R
to
theta.
us.
What the fuck is
She
that?
heard it too and went silent. I asked her in a whisper, is it normal for others to be here? And she said sometimes, but not really. We turned off our flashlights and waited. Suddenly there was a bang, much closer to us now. We both scrambled in the dark. I followed her, barely able to see. We made it back to the stairway and ran up the stairs with our lights back on. When we were a couple levels higher, we felt it was okay to speak at a normal volume again. Francesca told me the police never come in here, so it may have been other explorers. But the weird thing was there was no sign of another light in that corridor. Nobody normal would
Yeah,
do that
right?
in the dark. Then we heard sounds echoing from the exit stair shaft, where we just were. Someone was coming up the stairs. Once again, we scrambled. She led the way, saying she knew where to go. We ran for a few minutes through this maze of a building. I was truly freaking out. It seemed like we were being followed, and I wasn't sure if I would rather have it been the cops or someone else. She led us to this mini outside spot. We weren't on the highest rooftop, but I guess we
Okay,
were on
it's
what you'd call the
16.5.
rooftop of this level. We stopped to catch our breath. The whole being followed thing was killing the vibe completely. Even she seemed concerned. I looked to her as the expert with this place. After a few minutes, we relaxed a bit and went through this broken window into the ceiling of this one large room.
Oh, I get it. Okay.
Because she wanted to walk along these long, narrow wooden planks with a 10-foot drop below us. A fall from this height would cause injury, but I didn't want to seem like a pussy. I followed him across this sketchy
Why do they always
abandoned
say that?
until we
I
got
don't
to
want
the
to seem
top of
like a
this pillar
pussy.
where one board stopped
It's
and
like,
another one
okay.
started. We sat on this pillar to
I
just
mean,
enjoy
I mean,
the
it's their
view
story,
of
right?
the
At the end of the day,
edge overlooking
but it's
the
just
park.
something that like I always see happening.
It was creepy in
in these
there,
stories.
and I thought we were all alone until there was a sound from below us. It sounded like someone walking. Our presence was already made known to whoever was in there, so we turned on our flashlights and aimed them down below. And right below us, standing at the pillar, looking up at us, there was this 40-something-year-old man in a black Carhartt beanie, wearing a black jacket and black sweatpants. He smiled at us and said in this creepy deep voice,
Oh my
"Calm
god.
down," as he was waving us to come down. I asked, "Are you police?" He disregarded my question as if he didn't hear me.
That's
Asked me to
scary.
come on down with his creepy smile. Francesca and I got up scared and started walking back across the narrow piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
I was even more scared of falling now than before. I had no idea what that man would do to us. As we were about halfway across, the man hurried out of the room below us through a door.
Jesus.
He was most definitely going to try to catch us. We had to hurry. We made it across and tried to get out of there, knowing that man was dangerous. As we were running down the stairs in a shaft on the opposite side of the hospital, we heard the door a few flights above us open and slam shut, and then footsteps stomping down the steps. He somehow had followed us. We were hauling ass as if we were running for our lives. We made it back to the first floor, and we ran back to the opposite side of the hospital where we entered from. We went back to the basement and climbed through
Talk
the
four.
door.
Oh my god,
The
imagine.
whole process
I
of
would
climbing
hate
through
that.
that window was haunting, because I went out second, and I was afraid my legs would be grabbed at any moment. But I think by that point we lost the man. We ran back across the parking lot back to my car, and when we made it, first thing we did was lock the doors and catch our breath again. That was a complete nightmare, and
Yeah.
somehow, us getting through it together created a sort of instant bond between us. We drove away from there and stopped at a Wendy's to get food and just collect our thoughts in the car. We chilled for
No,
a bit.
that seems extreme, dude. I don't know.
Francesca and
I'd
I
be
have stayed
fucking
in
freaked
contact
out.
through the years, and while we were romantically involved for a few months, we ended up just staying good friends. Neither of us ever returned to that hospital again.
What is the normal? Oh my god. DS is FX. I don't know about that. Yeah, it's just. But I don't know, like a fucking. I mean. No. Would have. No, that wouldn't make sense. Gosh, I really need to do this homework assignment. Just one of them. The other one can like kind of like go away, right? So let's see. What other videos are there? What the fuck? I'm not clicking on that. There's some scary stuff. See, I can click on this guy, but he's like really dark. Let's see. Let's see. The Haunting of Dear David. I remember I wanted to watch this one, but like, eh. It was not that interesting. There's like, it was like one of those old haunting videos in like the series. Let's see. I don't know. The reason I'm not watching Snarl is because like they actually don't like it when I react to their videos. in the sense of like I always get like, oh, your video is claimed. It's like okay, but like it's like 10 minutes out of like yeah, like 10 minutes out of like a 7 hour VOD. It's like what the fuck. Mm, let's see. Mm, I mean, there's like stories we can listen to, but I doubt it'll help. See, there's all the other stuff. He made a new video? No way. Uh, Um, strangest. Okay, let's see what we can watch here. The dark side of popular MMOs. Oh my god, I don't want to listen to that because it's probably gonna be like, ugh, it's probably gonna be horrible. The EDP. It just got canceled. These are old videos. Reacting to my parents getting divorced. Oh my god. Why is this video an hour long? Hmm. We can watch another one of these, I guess. It's just really small. Actually, well, I don't know. I'm like, am I stealing his content or not? Hold on. Mm, we should just stick with one video. Desert sand feels warm at night. What the hell? Explain mysteries. Hmm. You can watch one of these old ones. But these are short. 15 minutes. Oh, let's watch this one. This one's an hour long. Legend of Anne Bonny. Bonnie. I don't know who she is, but from the picture, if they are a pirate, well, it'd be very interesting.
Hi, and welcome to Debunk File. My name is Sep, and today we're going to talk about Anne Bonny, the world's most famous female pirate.
Yeah.
In all of recorded history, few eras are as glamorized as the golden age of piracy. That phrase conjures up images of grand sailing ships, men jumping from ship to ship in dramatic fashion, and fabulous treasures being plundered. Thousands of pirates operated across the globe during this era, from the Mediterranean Sea to the American colonies. But for most people, piracy was most infamous in the West Indies, better known as the Caribbean. This golden age bore witness to quite a few notable seafaring plunderers, such as Blackbeard, Captain Kidd, and Henry Morgan, men who have become immortalized over time. But one of the most famous pirates during this era,
I kind of don't know much about pirates except for that Chinese one.
by the name Anne Bonny. Along with her friend Mary Read,
She was really
Anne
big.
was infamous for being one of the few women ever convicted of piracy in all
Mhm.
of recorded history. Anne also vanished from all historical records shortly after being captured, fueling centuries
Interesting.
of speculation and theories. Although Anne had a relatively short pirate career of only 2 months, her legend lives on, still going strong 300 years later,
Mhm.
as evident by her frequent appearances in popular culture. She's appeared in countless pirate films from the 1940s onwards.
Oh my god, of course you do the fucking one on Google.
On Stranger Tides, along with various other pirate books. The widely beloved video game
Oh,
Assassin's
whoa.
Creed
Where's my
4
mouse? My
flagged
mouse is just
prominently
gone.
all
Dude,
over
I
the
did not click there.
and also appeared in the original Pirates of the Caribbean
Mhm.
ride at Disneyland, California, and other Disney parks, in the form of background art, and may even make an appearance in the
Mhm.
Pirates of the Caribbean film series in the near future.
Interesting.
While Anne remains an extremely popular pirate figure,
Mhm.
we really do not know much about her. 3 long centuries have passed since Anne's arrest, conviction, and mysterious disappearance. Those 3 centuries have provided ample time for people to develop their own stories about her. Just about anything you could say about Anne Bonny has been said at some point. Some have said she was a cold-hearted woman,
Mhm.
basically a high-seas serial killer. Others claim she was a kind-hearted queen of the pirates, treating others with compassion and respect. A few called her a violent lesbian sailor, and others
Oh my
viewed her as a
god,
working
what the
class woman,
fuck?
stealing from the rich like Robin Hood. It goes without saying that Anne's story is clouded by myth and legend, to a point where it is hard to grasp who she really was and what
Right?
happened to her.
Because of all the fucking
Before we start, I need to express
misinformation
our
around her.
gratitude to a group of outstanding visuals, for this was by far
Mhm.
the most challenging video we have ever had to research. The first person is Neil Rennie. His book, Treasure Neverland, Real and Imagined Pirates, is one of the few books that even attempts to separate fact from fiction with regards to piracy in the Golden Age. Second, I would like to acknowledge historian David Fictum for his in-depth writings about the mythology surrounding female piracy in general and Anne Bonny in particular. Finally, major thanks go out to the Post and
Mhm.
Courier journalist Tony Bartlemy for penning a fantastic article on Anne Bonny and the many myths and falsehoods surrounding her. He even assisted in the making of this video by answering some pertinent questions about Anne and proposing an excellent theory. Countless other people assisted in the making of this project, from editors to authors and everyone in between, and will be duly mentioned in the credits. From the bottom of our hearts, we sincerely thank all these individuals for all the really hard work they put into making this video a reality.
Yep,
One
yep,
last
yep.
thing, for most of the video, Anne's name will be spelled with an E. This is
Mhm.
mostly for our convenience because of popular perception, not because of evidence, as
Yeah.
you can see. Just keep the spelling in mind. It'll be important down the road. Now, before we get into Anne's specific story, we need to talk about the period in which she lived. The Golden Age of Piracy.
Mhm. So, yeah.
The exact years that
Oh,
of the Golden Age of
no,
Piracy
that doesn't make
are
sense.
hotly debated. But for this video, we will consider it to be roughly an 80-year time span, beginning around 1650 and ending around 1730. Piracy itself has been a crime since the days of ancient
Mhm.
Egypt and the Sea People, but it became
Yeah.
rampant in the 1600s onward. The specific years 1650 to 1730 were marked by a significant increase in trade to and from the colonies that made up the
Mhm.
English, French, and Spanish empires. Unfortunately for them, these mighty empires did not have navies large enough to protect all their interests and assets. The first noteworthy pirate of the Golden Age was Henry Morgan, a Welsh privateer who raided not just ships, but entire cities. His most notable exploits included looting the Spanish settlements of Portobello and Panama City. The Spanish government accused Morgan of piracy, hoping the English would hang him.
Mhm.
Instead, he was knighted by the crown, raising Morgan's
Oh,
stature
God.
to the level of Elizabethan
Jeez.
privateer. Morgan went on to become Lieutenant Governor of Jamaica, although was in some ways still a pirate at heart. It was
Mhm.
said that the city where Morgan spent most of his time, Port Royal, was the most popular place for a pirate to stay in the entire Caribbean. The town had garnered a
Gosh.
sinister reputation since the 1660s as a place run by nothing but pirates and prostitutes. Instead
Mhm.
of cleaning up Port Royal and eliminating the hundreds of legal and illegal pirates who visited, Morgan was known to drink and party with them long into the night. This criminal
Oh god, that's already a really bad look.
and in 1687,
Jeez.
various anti-piracy laws were passed, and these cutthroats could not rely on the pirate politician much longer. Morgan's lifestyle of constantly drinking eventually caught up with him. On August 25th, 1688, Sir Henry Morgan died from complications attributed to his constant rum consumption. Ironic.
Mm-hmm.
He was given a hero's funeral. The English even allowed pirates still on the run to attend his funeral. Port Royal, called Sodom of the New World, eventually lived up to its biblical nickname. The city was almost entirely destroyed following the 1692 Jamaica earthquake.
Jeez.
By chance, happened to demolish
What
not
the
only Morgan's
fuck?
grave, but also 2/3 of the
Yeah, that's
city,
insane.
and killed as many as 5,000 people. Port Royal would never again be a place of comfort for pirates. In the years to come, after it was mostly rebuilt, it would become infamous as the place of execution for many seafaring criminals. After Henry Morgan, the most influential pirate was, without question, Henry Every. Every was initially an English sailor on board the warship Charles II when the crew mutinied. Following the mutiny, Every was named captain by the crew, and he decided the most profitable venture was piracy. The ship was quickly renamed the Fancy, and of course was chartered for the Indian Ocean. In August of 1695, Every managed to capture a massive Indian treasure ship called the Ganji Isawi, with a cargo worth 600,000 English pounds, roughly 99 million in British pounds today. With all that treasure stolen, Every soon departed the Indian Ocean and headed to the Caribbean island of New Providence,
What is-
Bahamas. Every was one
That's
of
the
first
gradient,
pirates
divided by
to
the
sail
gradient by
for an
P?
extended period. He then secretly returned to England,
What?
never to be seen again, becoming one of the few pirates to escape the law despite an intensive search from the English government. Soon after, Every became the stuff of legend, inspiring countless stories. In 1709, the first biography of Every was released, called The Life and Adventures of Captain John Avery. It set
Holy
the standard
shit.
for future books about
He actually got an
piracy,
actual
being almost
article.
entirely fictional.
Not like one.
Everything from his surname being changed to Avery to his deeds were made up, but it was a big financial success regardless, so these lies quickly became accepted fact. Over time, the lies became even more extreme.
Yeah, that
In
sounds
later
horrible.
stories, Every would become known as the King of the Pirates, founder of a pirate republic on Madagascar that would eventually become known as the mythical Libertalia. Obviously, none of this was true. Every barely set foot on the island of Madagascar.
What is
the pirate
Delta
frontier
F?
never founded a self-governing settlement, but many people believed it was real. This grand legacy
13 over
shrouded in
6?
mythology eventually led to hordes of pirates wanting to replicate Every's achievements, regardless of if they were real or not. One man
I
who was
remember that.
inspired by Henry Every was William Kidd. Kidd was famously a legal privateer who, after a controversial voyage which included robbing a ship with ambiguous owners and murdering a gunner named William Moore in unclear circumstances, was hanged for piracy
Jeez.
following a trial that is still debated to this day.
Mhm.
Captain Kidd's main legacy was being the only pirate ever to bury treasure, leading to
Yeah.
generations of people believing riches existed.
That people, yeah,
on the
buried
surface
stuff.
of forgotten
13 over
islands and
3.
Although it should be noted that the circumstances for Kidd choosing to bury his treasure were rather unique. He only buried whatever plunder he had left on Gardner's Island as a bargaining chip to save his life. The treasure itself was found soon after his arrest. But the idea of pirates burying treasure caught on, and within a few decades, nearly every pirate was rumored to have buried treasure, with Kidd by far being the most prominent. Fueled by stories such as Edgar Allan Poe's The Gold Bug, people to this day search for Kidd's treasure in places such as New Jersey and Oak Island. All of this continues despite the inconvenient truth that, except for this one instance, buried treasure, much like many supposed aspects of piracy, is a fictional concept imagined
Right.
by writers and not marauders of the sea. Following Kidd's death in 1701, Europe and the Americas were soon engulfed in the War of Spanish Succession. Hundreds of privateers were employed by various nations
Yeah.
on both sides of the conflict, leading to many captains becoming rich from their bounty. In 1707, in the middle of the conflict, Great Britain was formed following the Acts of Union. From this point, the
Although your
Empire
answer is
became a
correct, oh
united
my God.
British Empire. The War of Spanish Succession finally came to a close in the Caribbean with the
1.5
signing of the Treaty of Utrecht in
39 out of
1713.
6.
However, many of these now former privateers refused to return to a regimented sailor's life, choosing to become illegal pirates instead. As a result, it is estimated that 98% of pirates were former sailors. Another significant event that led to increased piracy in the Caribbean was the loss of the famed Spanish treasure fleet during a hurricane in July of 1715.
I'm gonna keep on
The
fucking
fleet was
using the
transporting
same
Spanish
fucking
gold
answer.
and silver when they sank. Over the course of several months, the Spanish retrieved most of the treasure from the wrecked ships, keeping the silver and gold on beaches until they could be transported elsewhere. It should come as no surprise that some people saw an excellent opportunity to steal
Yeah, right,
Spanish
to
treasure
steal.
since it wasn't heavily guarded. One such privateer was Jonathan Barnett, who later on plays a crucial role in Anne Bonny's story. The specific time frame most people remember from the golden age of piracy is from 1713 to 1722. This was when the city of Nassau on New Providence became an actual pirate republic led by the pirate Benjamin Hornigold. The Bahamas hadn't had a government since 1703 following an attack by the Spanish during the war. Hornigold
Oh
saw the
God,
perfect spot
yeah.
to set up a base of operations. And after setting up shop in 1713, it quickly flourished into the greatest haven for pirates the world has ever
Well,
seen.
I'd imagine that would
Legendary
happen or
figures
be the
like
thing.
Edward Blackbeard Thatch and Samuel Black Sam Bellamy were known members of the Nassau community,
Samuel Bellamy.
alongside hundreds of lesser-known pirates.
Mhm.
Alongside the pirates, countless criminals and prostitutes moved to Nassau, starting in
You better not be showing anything
1660,
weird.
looking for new opportunities in a lawless land.
Mhm.
After years of successful piracy, the British Empire began to
This is a documentary.
pirates. Former privateer and national
Wow, she
hero
put, like,
John
US
Rogers
history.
was named governor of the Bahamas
Actually.
on January 6th, 1718 by King George I. Rogers was a shrewd man, having captured a Spanish treasure ship during the War of Spanish Succession and pacified the remaining pirates on Madagascar. He was the perfect man to get rid of the Pirate Republic. After arriving on July 22nd, Rogers managed to destroy Nassau entirely through using diplomacy. He came bearing a gift, a pardon straight from the king to any pirate who was willing to quit the profession. There was no
Oh my
catch.
God.
They could return to whatever life they had lived with all the ill-gotten gains they had gathered, provided that they
Right.
never again returned to a life of piracy. Many, such as Hornigold and Jennings, accepted, and those who did not
No tengo
faced the
nada,
wrath
mamá.
of the British.
Mamá, tú debes que parar de decir eso. No hay nada aquí.
Killed in the following years, either by the Royal Navy
Oh my
or
God.
by powerful hurricanes.
See, there's like nothing here.
Some
There's,
pirates,
like, literally,
John
like, a
Alger,
mess.
were even hunted down by former comrades like Hornigold.
It's gonna be so mad because she's like,
After
ah,
the hurricane's
cocinero,
pardon,
cocinero.
some
And
former
I'm like, no,
pirates
he's
saw
not.
more money in being pirate hunters than actual pirates. In 1719, a true king of the
I don't know,
pirates
give
was
us
released.
surfers.
His name was Bartholomew Roberts.
See, I'm like,
Most people
oh,
probably know him via his nickname Black Bart, but this name was not given to him until centuries after his reign of terror. Roberts was a sailor on a slave ship called the Princess, until it was attacked by the pirate Howell Davis. Roberts joined Davis's crew soon after the attack. It was quite common for sailors on looted ships to join a pirate's crew, willingly or not. After Davis
Yeah,
was murdered in an ambush,
sometimes they would, like,
Princip,
like it's like I don't know if this term is like bad,
Roberts quickly became the most successful.
but it's
pirate
essentially it's related to
dozens of
kidnapping.
vessels
I don't
over
wanna
his
say.
career. Some say it was in the hundreds.
Eventually, they would take you to
Defeated by
China or
both the
something.
British and French navies. At the same time,
But this is an
Roberts
unrelated
was
area, though.
Woodes Rogers was fighting another type of enemy. After seizing control of Nassau, Rogers was constantly in fear of the pardoned pirates and criminals staging an uprising. After Hornigold captured John Alger, Rogers saw an opportunity to assert control. He had Alger and the other captured pirates hanged for all to see. Conflict between the governor and the pardoned pirates began to subside, so he turned his attention to other problems. Rogers was a practicing Protestant and had no love for taverns, brothels, and prostitutes. He distributed pamphlets preaching against the evils of these institutions and did his best to stomp out Nassau's moral excesses. These plans were put on hold in March of 1719 when Rogers received word that war had been declared between Britain and Spain the previous year. The conflict became known as the War of the Quadruple Alliance and proved to be just as enormous
Yeah.
a burden on Nassau as the pirates had. Upon the war's conclusion in February of
What's that noise? It sounds like a door is
Rogers
opening.
went back to dealing with more mundane issues, including fighting prostitution. This
What
course
the
of action
fuck?
would have dire consequences for a certain woman down the road. 1720 was the peak of piracy during the Golden Age, with as many as 2,000 active pirates. Soon afterwards, though, the number of pirates began to plummet rapidly. Even as the Golden Age slowly faded, remarkable feats of
What?
piracy continued, and not all of them were instigated by Howell.
DZDX equals negative
In
2x over
1721, John
2z?
Taylor and a few other pirates, by chance, captured the Portuguese treasure ship Nossa Senhora do
What?
Pavo. The ship was carrying gold and uncut diamonds worth over 1 million British pounds.
Ooh, that is not what I remember.
76 million in British pounds today. This robbery was the most profitable act of piracy during the entire Golden Age, but events such as these were increasingly rare, as Bartholomew Roberts quickly came to discover. Roberts' grand career was cut short in a spectacular naval battle off the coast of Africa in 1722, where the famed Lord of Piracy was struck down by grape shot fired from a British frigate
Interesting.
commanded by Captain Challenor Ogle. Roberts' death is sometimes considered the event that ended the Golden Age of piracy. A few notable pirates like William Fry would continue plundering in the years following Roberts' death, but it was hardly a lucrative profession anymore. By
You know, I find that
1740,
very interesting.
Most pirates in the Caribbean were either dead or retired. Ports across the many islands no longer accepted pirates.
What thing am I thinking of? There's like a
Persistent to beat. The constant threat of piracy
no,
in
because
the
that's
Caribbean would never again
there's
become
like something
commonplace.
equally as I want to say a hobby. No, there's like a job that's like going the same way, but like it's not like a job. It's like a
In 1724,
same way piracy.
piracy was a popular topic for writers. And
oh yeah. Like
authors.
online piracy is going the same way. I
Players made
feel
about them. One author stands
like it's
above
still
all
around,
others.
but like it's like
That year, a book titled A
slowly
General
disappearing?
History of the Robberies and Murders of the Most
Um,
Notorious Pirates
to a more
was
darker
published.
corner,
The
right?
book became the equivalent
Or
of
if at
a
all, just, like, out of the
international
picture.
bestseller, leading to various supplementary volumes and editions. The book was the first published account of the lives of famous pirates. For the first time, people across the world would read about the lives of Edward Lowe, John Martel, and countless other feared criminals. The book's author was a man named Captain Charles Johnson, except it wasn't. That was a made-up name.
Jesus,
To this
yeah.
day, we do not actually know who wrote this book. Some
Uh-huh.
historians claimed it might have been written by Daniel.
Isn't
Defoe,
that
the author of
freaking
Robinson
great?
Crusoe. However, this theory has been widely
Okay, but
discredited
what
in
is
recent
delta
years,
F?
The most popular suspect being Defoe's publisher,
Equals
William
K,
Dennis.
P equals
But since
K?
Nisk had several unnamed writers working for him at any given time,
Hmm.
this book could have really been written by anyone. The fictional name Captain Charles Johnson was likely inspired by the.
I'm doing math homework in the background. Y'all don't know.
By chance, Johnson happened to have written a play called The Successful
That doesn't
Pirate,
make sense.
which was about Henry
That doesn't
Every.
make sense at all.
Plays like The Successful Pirate doubled down on romanticism over history, leading some people like critic and playwright John Dennis to protest the play for celebrating a criminal. The real Charles Johnson did amusingly mock how accurate his pirate plays, and to an extent, all pirate plays were, by saying, quote, "The only real piracy in his drama was the taking of spectators' money for an entertainment which had nothing to do with piracy." Regardless, the mystery of who Captain Charles Johnson was is just one of the many unanswered questions about the
Over
Golden
the
Age of piracy.
football
It
surface
is also
at...
not the only aspect of
Oh
the
my
book that is
God.
untrustworthy. Many stories and details in the book cannot be fact-checked. The book comes with no sources cited, and sometimes the book contradicts official court documents.
Holy
that do
shit.
state true facts. At its worst,
But like, I mean, that's what
the book
happens when you have like older documents.
For example,
just arise
one
from,
could
like,
go about reading
you know,
Captain
unknown
John
authors.
Phillips, a real pirate, to Captain Misson, a pirate that was only real in Captain Charles Johnson's mind. These issues have led some critics to view general history of the pirates as more a creation of fiction than of fact.
Yeah.
Regardless of how accurate general history of the pirates is, its influence is beyond.
And they weren't just like pirates,
This
like normal,
book
like,
created
oh,
the modern
like,
image
you know,
of
European pirates. They were
Almost all
different.
pirate fiction that followed drew from general history. The few remaining notable pirate cliches not popularized by Captain Charles Johnson, peg legs, eye patches, sharp West country accents, and treasure maps were firmly made famous in the 1883 novel Treasure Island and its eventual 1950 film adaptation. The book's author, Robert Louis Stevenson, gleefully admits in letters that general history of the pirates heavily inspired the novel, going so far as to proudly call it the best book on pirates. From Treasure Island onward, it is not far from Hollywood films like Captain Blood, Pirates of the Caribbean, and pop-up holidays such as International
Okay,
Talk.
that's what I thought.
The modern
FFX1.
depiction
Okay.
of piracy shares little in common with the real pirates of the 17th and 18th
But what is by
centuries.
P?
They didn't say R. Nobody buried treasure outside
Eh?
of William Kidd. No sailor ever fought
What
with
is
a hook.
K?
There are no cases of people being forced to walk the plank, and no known pirate ever wore a peg leg. Many of these misconceptions fall directly or indirectly.
What is K? This is killing me. What is K?
Now, if you were to pick up a copy of General History of the Pirates like
What
myself,
the
you will
fuck?
notice that the most prominent name on the cover is not Blackbeard or Olivier Levasseur. Instead, it's a simple woman's name. Anne
Yeah,
Bonny.
and Bond. Oh my god, this song is copyrighted. Blah 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 blah. You guys gotta hear this song. No, 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 no.
So let us start with a little background on this infamous pirate. Anne Bonny was born in a small town in County Cork.
Okay, but like, what the? Okay,
in
Delta
the late
F,
1690s or early
excuse me,
1700s.
determinant
She was the
F or
bastard
whatever, or
daughter of
gradient
the
F
attorney and his
by
maid.
P. I don't know what the hell that
Attorney,
is.
your maid is named in Captain Charles Johnson's
You
record.
oversee?
Following a complicated misunderstanding involving silver spoons, the attorney had a fling with the maid despite being a married man, resulting in a child.
We take
After
P to
discovering
equal
his
K
identity,
and
his
calculate.
wife left him,
Blah.
leading to his job as an attorney
What
to
the?
slowly. The attorney taught little Anne to dress in boys' clothes.
Oh, like as in like K. Oh, okay, that.
The attorney left Ireland with Anne and the maid, and they went to the Carolinas, where he eventually became a wealthy plantation owner. The town where they moved is never stated, but it was most likely Charlestown, the city famously blockaded by Blackbeard in 1718. Alas, Anne's mother died suddenly when she was still a little girl. Anne was described as quite aggressive, having a temper that could match any man alive. One legend says that she stabbed a plantation mate to death
Oh,
at
God.
age 13. Another story stated that a man once tried to have his way with Anne. She proceeded to beat him nearly to death.
Jeez.
As she grew older, Anne's father, like most fathers, wanted her to marry a respectful man. Instead, she ran off with a sailor named Bonny and were quickly married. Another legend states that she burned down her father's plantation before leaving. Possibly inspired by the legends of the Irish pirate Queen Grace O'Malley, Anne and her husband headed to the Caribbean, specifically one island famous for its pirates. The couple arrived at New Providence, specifically the city of Nassau, where Anne met a pirate by the name of John Rackham. Rackham was the quartermaster for the fearsome Charles Vane until Vane refused to attack a French frigate during a voyage. Rackham soon after managed to overthrow Vane as captain after a crew vote due to not attacking the frigate. Rackham is often called Calico Jack Rackham, as Charles Johnson often wrote of him wearing expensive jackets made of calico. There is sadly no proof of this in any historical documentation, however. Calico at the time was considered very feminine, so it's quite unlikely a pirate would proudly sport such a nickname. Johnson's second volume also added a lot of details about Rackham and Anne's relationship. Rackham would constantly steal treasure to impress Anne, but her husband, now named James Bonny, was not pleased. In fact, James was secretly working with Governor Woodes Rogers, the archenemy of all pirates. Eventually, for Anne and Rackham to finally be together, they stole a ship from Nassau Harbor and fled. During this time, Anne began to fall in love with another sailor who had joined the crew early in the voyage. At one point, Anne tried to kiss this sailor, only to discover he was really a she.
What
This
the
sailor was a
fuck?
woman named Mary Reed, who, just like Anne, had been raised to dress like a man since childhood. Although disappointed, Anne quickly became close friends with Mary. Rackham was quietly let in on this little secret so he wouldn't get jealous. Despite how erotic this sounds, Johnson did not write it to look like a lesbian encounter. So anyone who cites this as proof that Anne Bonny was a lesbian pirate is just flat out wrong. At some point during this time frame, Anne became pregnant with Rackham's child and eventually gave birth to a boy on the island of Cuba. Governor Rogers eventually offered John Rackham up.
Oh, because A equals
to
2A. That makes sense. That's how we get A over
taking a
Z.
ship called the William along with him. Ultimately, the British
Now I
Navy
have
caught up
2X.
with him one night where he and his crew were drinking heavily. Captain Jonathan Barnett, under orders from Jamaican Governor Sir Nicholas Laws and still serving as a privateer, sighted the William and attacked. To Captain Barnett's surprise, the only two pirates who fought back were Anne Bonny and Mary Reed. Everyone else was just too drunk to put up any resistance. The two women quickly opened fire on the enemy vessel, killing one British sailor and wounding another. They valiantly fought back against the British for hours, with pistols fired and cutlasses drawn. In the end, though, the battle's outcome was never truly in doubt. Anne and Mary eventually surrendered to the astonished British sailors. Even though the battle was over, one more life was to be taken. Anne and Mary were outraged that John Rackham and his crew had not helped them fight Barnett and his men. In a fit of rage, one of the women shot a fellow pirate dead in retribution for
Oh my God.
cowardice. Rackham and his crew were taken to the Spanish town on the island of Jamaica. There, the entire crew was sentenced to death for piracy. Anne got to see Rackham one more time before his execution. Anne bluntly told him, "If you had fought like a man, you wouldn't hang like a dog." When it was time for Anne and Mary to be sentenced, the two ladies had a trick up their sleeves.
Damn.
Both women said that they were quick with child. Under
Mhm.
British law, it was unlawful to hang a pregnant woman.
Yeah.
Both women were inspected and found to be pregnant, and because of the law, their executions were postponed temporarily. The plan was to hang Anne and Mary after they gave birth, but this never came to be.
Yeah.
Mary Read died of a violent fever while still in
Oh
prison.
my God.
And Bonnie's fate was far more mysterious. Captain Charles Johnson concludes her chapter in his book by writing this. She was continued in prison to the time of her lying in, and afterwards reprieved from time to time. But what has become of her since, we cannot tell. Only this we know, that she was not executed.
Wow.
Thus ended the story of Anne Bonny, the
Yeah.
world's most famous female pirate. Or was it? At a few points in that story, you may have questioned whether this story was true. Of course, Captain Charles Johnson claims it was all true, going so far as to say doubting this story's truth is like saying Bartholomew Roberts was not real. To give Johnson some credit, a few segments were probably accurate. Rackham did work under Charles Vane until he removed him as captain. Rackham did sail around as a pirate before accepting a pardon. Rackham did certainly steal a ship and go on something of a crime spree before his capture at the hands of Jonathan Barnett. But certain parts of the story, such as being privy to how Anne was born and specific quotes from the pirates themselves that no one had ever referenced until the publication of General History, is a bit fishy. It all
Yeah.
reads like literature and not real-life history. In fact, Anne and Mary's childhoods are remarkably similar to the childhood experienced by the title character from Daniel Defoe's 1720 novel Moll Flanders. To make matters even worse, the later editions of General History added so much additional information about Anne Bonny that cannot be factually proven. The very sketches of Anne Bonny and Mary Read were also changed in later editions, from drawings that resembled the court transcripts to sexier versions that had literally no basis in reality. When questioning the book's integrity,
Oh my
you must
God.
consult actual documentation to see what truly happened. The problem with that is there are very few pieces of documentation about pirates in general, Anne Bonny especially. In fact, I can only find 4 pieces of documentation about her. So, let us discuss that.
The unit vector normal to R. What the fuck does that mean?
On that day, Governor Woodes Rogers gave a proclamation that was
Normal to R.
Gazette. The proclamation.
What does that mean? Oh my God.
Piracy the crew was committing. The ship was described as being 12 tons, carrying 4 cannons, 2 swivel guns, and initially captained by a man named John Ham. Interestingly, this proclamation contradicts Johnson's account, as he describes it as a 40-ton ship commanded by Captain John Hayman. And this is not the only notable contradiction. Rogers' proclamation also named 8 of the William's 14 crew members. Rogers also noted that the ship was taken over by 12 men and 2 women, and identifies the women as Anne Fulford, Elias Bonny, and Mary Read. A crucial part of Johnson's story is that Mary Read disguised herself as a man.
125, 125, 125 by 4.
If Governor Rogers knew their names long before they were captured, then Johnson's tale of cross-dressing pirates is a complete fabrication. The fact that Anne went under the name Fulford is interesting, suggesting she perhaps used aliases during her short career. The October 10th issue of the Boston Gazette briefly mentioned John Rackham commanding a crew of 12 men and 2 women. No names are stated, but is clearly referring to Anne Bonny and Mary Read, showing that countless people in the American colonies were aware of these female pirates. The next time Anne Bonny is mentioned is in a 1721 trial pamphlet called The Trials of Captain John Rackham and Other Pirates.
Oh, so
Roughly
close.
like a court transcript. This transcript is largely where we get most information about Anne, and it contradicts Johnson's account heavily. Following the August 22nd theft of William, Rackham and his crew went on quite the crime spree, robbing 7 fishing boats.
You see, I would have gotten it
attacking
wrong
4
either
slaves,
ways,
ship,
but still
and 1
25.
schooner along with some petty robbery. Governor Rogers sent 2 large sloops after Rackham, but they were not responsible for ending his career. The final showdown with Jonathan Barnett went down very differently in reality. Barnett was merely sailing along when another ship captain told him he saw a sloop fire a cannon, so he went to investigate. Barnett's ship, the Tiger, spotted Rackham's vessel on October 22nd near Negro Point, Jamaica. Rackham had just picked up 9 men hunting for turtles. He had gotten their attention by firing a cannon. Rackham was drinking
Oh my
with
God,
these
stop.
men when Barnett's ship appeared. Rackham tried to escape detection, but the William could not move fast enough. Barnett fired a shot to get the William's attention, before asking for identification. Rackham himself yelled to Barnett that he was John Rackham of Cuba before firing upon the British ship with his swivel guns. Rackham tried to flee again, but Barnett fired a broadside of cannons that took down the Williams mast. The entire crew quickly cried out for mercy. There is no mention of anyone dying or heroically fighting back against overwhelming odds. The pirates were taken to Jamaica and promptly put on trial. Rackham and his crew were tried in Spanish.
Oh, okay, so it is actually okay. That's
Henry
so
Morgan's favorite place to drink and gamble, Port Royal. Rackham and most of his crew were found
quite
guilty after a
cute.
quick trial and
That's
hanged
quite a
on
lot.
November 18th at Gallows Point, Port Royal. The bodies were then gibbeted, a humiliating act where the pirate's corpse is stuffed into a cage for all to see. Rackham
Ew.
himself was gibbeted on a small island near Port Royal called Dead Man's Cay, now
Yeah.
called Rackham's Cay. Thus ended the career of my personal favorite pirate, John Rackham. A rather pathetic pirate who never robbed a treasure ship or struck fear into the hearts of many. He couldn't even garner admiration from his peers. Instead, he stole from fishing boats and vessels far smaller than him before being beaten without much a fight. John Rackham was more a vulture than a feared pirate captain.
Gosh.
November 28th was the day of Anne Bonny and Mary Reed's trial. The trial records consistently refer to Anne by the name Anne Bonny, alias Bon. It seems nobody knew what her name exactly was, like how Blackbeard is sometimes called Edward Teach or Thatch. It's also
Interesting.
possible that due to low literacy, nobody knew how to pronounce these names. The two women were described as spinsters from New Providence. This simply meant they were both unmarried and had been living in Nassau for some time. Although this does not directly imply either were born on that island. Both women pled not guilty and the trial officially began. In the shadow of what had once been Henry Morgan's haven for piracy, Anne and Mary now stood, waiting for the trial outcome that would likely end their lives. The first witness was a captain named Thomas Spenlow, whose schooner had been robbed of all valuables. He described clearly seeing two women on board Rackham's ship during the robbery. The following witnesses were a pair of Frenchmen named John Besnick and Peter Cornelius.
Oh my god, can I not
These
add?
two men had been kidnapped by Rackham around late September. They claimed to have seen Anne and Mary wearing men's clothing during the acts of piracy, but donning traditional women's clothing during the calmer moments. They also describe Anne specifically as providing gunpowder to crew members during battle, a job commonly referred to as a powder monkey. Besnick and Cornelian ended their testimony by claiming both women were not prisoners. They had free rein to do as they pleased as members of Rackham's crew. Another captain by the
1728.
name of Thomas Dillon testified that he was attacked by Rackham before being taken hostage. Dillon vividly remembers seeing Anne Bonny, describing her as wielding a flintlock pistol and swearing as much as any other pirate would.
Okay.
Dillon also ominously says that Anne was
This does sound like very weird fucking fan fiction.
The most compelling testimony during Anne and Mary's trial came from a woman named Dorothy Thomas, who had been robbed of her valuables while traveling in a canoe. Thomas described being violently robbed by Rackham, and both Anne Bonny and Mary Reed. Thomas gave the best description of the two female pirates by far, saying they wore men's jackets, long trousers, and had handkerchiefs tied around their heads. Thomas was describing the standard attire of sailors in the early 18th century.
Yeah, right?
She does note that the two women did not attempt to hide their gender, as she could easily see that the two pirates had large breasts. Thomas concluded her testimony by saying Anne Bonny and Mary Reed each were holding a pistol and cutlass and tried to murder her, with the reasoning that Thomas was now a witness to their crime spree. Rackham and his crew managed to talk both Anne and Mary down from murdering the unarmed woman. When all this testimony was completed, the court politely asked if the two women had a witness who could contradict what had been said, or if they had a defense. Anne and Mary both bluntly said no. The verdict from the court came not long after. Guilty of piracies, felonies, and robberies committed on the high sea. Jamaican Governor Sir Nicholas Laws, who presided over the trials, then asked if the two women had anything to say that might persuade the court to spare their lives. The two women again responded with no. Laws then made the following statement. You, Mary Reed, and Anne Bonny, alias Bon, are to go from hence to the place from whence you came, and from thence to the place of execution, where ye shall be severally hanged by the neck, till you are severally dead. Immediately after sentencing, Anne and Mary quickly yelled out to the court that they were quick with child, probably causing a commotion. Governor Laws immediately ordered an inspection, and if found to be pregnant, then their sentences would be temporarily halted. Finally, Anne and Mary Reed were referenced in an article for the January 31st issue of the Boston Gazette. The article described the trial of John Rackham and how all his crew had been executed, except for 2 women who had pleated their bellies. Once
Mhm.
again, neither woman was named, but by now, most readers knew who they were.
Damn it.
This
Okay.
newspaper article was the
Okay.
last mention of either Anne Bonny or Mary Read in any documentation or conversation until the publication of General History of the Pirates in 1724. As you can probably tell,
1 by
there is
3.
a world of difference between the existing documentation and Captain Charles Johnson's likely tall tales. No mention of Anne's childhood came up. We cannot confirm if she was from Ireland or that her father was a wealthy plantation owner in the Carolinas. The name Bonny itself is French in origin,
Mhm.
while still being prevalent in Scotland and England. Anyone with the surname is not strictly Irish. Of interesting note, Bonny as a surname is mostly associated with Lancashire County, England. We do not know if Anne was educated or if she could even
Yeah.
read. Nobody ever described what Anne directly looked or sounded like. The only description was of her clothing, so we do not know if she had red hair as commonly depicted. No mention is made of either woman masquerading as men or
Mhm.
accidentally falling in love. None of the funny quips like Anne's last conversation with Rackham
Yeah.
are mentioned. The transcripts never allude to any buried treasure, so popular tales of Anne, Mary, or Rackham burying some great plunder is most definitely a lie. Most notably, there is no mention of Mary Read dying in prison, or even the two
Mhm.
being confirmed as pregnant. All that is written is that they claimed to be pregnant,
Yeah.
although it should be noted that there is no record of either woman being executed, so the pregnancy claim was likely true.
I'm just gonna fucking gas. Oh my god. 13 halves.
So what can we definitively say about Anne Bonny? Well, she was not the queen of the pirates. In fact, she was not even a captain.
Mhm.
She was just a member of Rackham's
Yeah.
crew, handing out gunpowder and taking part in plundering other ships. Hardly comparable to someone like the actual Chinese pirate queen, Qin
Yeah.
Shi. Anne was
That's
not
the one I was
easily
talking about
fall in love
earlier.
with the only other
37.
woman on board. She was not some heroic hero of the people, seeing how she tried to run an innocent woman through with a cutlass. Anne was not a naive little girl, seeing how she swore like a sailor and was active in all aspects of piracy. The only detail about her background that can be confirmed is that she had spent a long time on New Providence, and she was a spinster, which means unmarried.
Mhm.
The ages of the 2 women were never explicitly stated in the court transcript, so we have no idea exactly how old Anne and Mary were. It is safe to assume they were probably in their late 20s to early 30s, judging by the average age of sailors in the era being 27. Seeing how Woodes Rogers never mentioned a man named James Bonny working for him, it is also probably safe to say that Johnson's story of Anne running away from a pirate husband is a lie.
Yeah.
The word spinster does hint at her previous job in
Mhm.
an unflattering manner. Most independent adult unmarried women on New Providence were prostitutes. It is
Oh
plausible
god.
that Anne Bonny and Mary Read were both local prostitutes who had
Yeah.
arrived in Nassau at some point in their lives. They had probably entertained Rackham and his crew and merely joined him when he ran off with a ship. Once on board, they likely became more active members of the crew. This would explain how 2 women became pirates, as most sailors did not let women on board due to
Yeah.
superstitious reasons. It would also explain how both women became pregnant. This is still hypothetical. However, as no other information exists currently, perhaps somewhere in Jamaica resides some lost document giving more details.
Right.
But if there is any, it hasn't been found yet.
It's the perfect.
We
Dude,
honestly
I'm
cannot
fucking
say
done with
much more
this.
than that. We can't even say for
Find the
sure what her
flux.
name
Find the
was.
flux.
Was it Anne with an
God.
E?
So like again, I'm doing the
Was it
homework.
Bonnie, Bon, full
I'll be
form?
honest, this is
Some
just
pirates still
not
use false names
good at
to
all.
convert England, but why would someone
1, 2,
like
3.
Anne
Okay.
Bonny bother?
So I
Does
just
this mean
just
her family was important and well known? I wish we could be more definitive.
I'm just literally finding the patterns and just
With
finding
everything
it.
said, this is my theory as to who Anne Bonny was. It is mostly conjecture, but from what evidence we have, this is my best guess. Anne Bonny was probably English. I say this because nobody ever directly claimed that she was from Ireland besides Captain Charles Johnson, and her name is not very Irish. Anne was a popular English name. I mean, the ruler of England from 1702 to 1714 was Queen Anne of Great Britain. At the time, royalty usually spelled their name as Anne with an E, and if you were a commoner,
Or
it was spelled
16.
as Anne without an E. As mentioned before, the surname Bonny was a French name that was popular across the British Isles due to the Norman invasion of 1066. Found mostly in Lancashire, but still reasonably common across Great Britain. The same goes for the alias mentioned in her trial. Bon was a French name that could be found in England, taken from the French word bon, which means good. The other alias she used, Fulford, was directly an English name found in counties like Somerset or Staffordshire. None of this is uniquely Irish in the slightest. So, with apologies to County Cork, one of your most prominent female inhabitants probably was not born there. It is hard to guess what Anne Bonny looked like, but it is a decent assumption that she had brown hair. Most people in England now and then have brownish hair. This contrasts heavily.
Now and then have brownish hair.
Red hair. Age-wise,
What?
she was probably born somewhere between 1690 and 1695.
163.
She was neither a child nor an old maid by the time she was a pirate. Anne Bonny's family was probably poor. They had enough money to pay for a baptism, but likely not much else. I presume this because of a document I found. On October 19th, 1690, a couple from St. Giles named George and Mary Bonny had their child baptized at St. Giles in the Fields Church. She had likely been born sometime that year. Her name was Anne Bonny. This child at least had one sibling, a brother also named George. I cannot confirm with certainty that this is indeed the legendary pirate, but it matches up.
Yeah, it
This
was
child
really
was
well
one of the
too.
People in English parish records to be born between 1690 and 1695, with the right given name and surname. And St. Giles is quite an interesting place to be born. St. Giles was well known for its poverty. It was one of the worst places to live in all of London. The district was chock full of criminals and prostitutes. It was so bad that centuries later, writers like Charles Dickens would still note how bad living conditions in neighborhoods like Seven Dials were. St. Giles in the Fields Church also had a notable distinction as the last stop for condemned prisoners from Newgate Prison before being taken to the gallows. One famous prisoner of Newgate was Captain Kidd, although he didn't stop at St. Giles on the way to the execution dock. Anne would have been 11 the year of Kidd's execution. She possibly was even a witness to it. Execution Dock was close to the Pool of London, the original name for the port, and the pool wasn't far from St. Giles. Again, if this baptized child is Anne Bonny, then she grew up poor in an area close to one of the busiest ports in Britain, and the spot where pirates were routinely executed.
Yeah, right.
Anne probably ran away from home, not for romantic reasons like what Captain Charles Johnson claimed, but because of the extreme poverty she lived in. Her family probably couldn't afford food most of the time, especially if they had other children, leaving Anne to fend for herself.
God, I don't know what you think.
I doubt
She
she
sounds
ever
horrible.
married. It would have likely come up during the trial. I assume that after she ran away from home, she turned to the one job always available to women, the world's oldest profession. She wouldn't need to travel far. Prostitutes
Oh, did it say?
a dozen in St. Giles.
Please
At this point, she probably went by Anne Fulford, in case her family ever went looking for her. How she ended up in Nassau is anyone's guess. She likely would have shown up in the time frame when the island was still lawless, such as the year 1716, when a significant influx of prostitutes occurred. She probably heard from sailors about this land of pirates and figured it was the most profitable place to be for a prostitute. Anne probably worked that job in Nassau for a couple of years. She probably met Mary Read and became good friends with her in that span. She was probably well acquainted with John Rackham as well when he still served under Charles Vane.
Oh,
Depending on
yeah.
when
That's
Anne
right.
arrived, I cannot outrule the possibility that she at least tangentially interacted with other pirates like Hornigold, Jennings, and Blackbeard. I
Yeah.
think she was neither a gentle soul nor brute. Anne likely adapted to the difficult life in Nassau. She probably was used to fights with drunken pirates, or worse. But I do not think she was a psychopath with no understanding of empathy from what little information we can gather. By August of 1720, Anne probably wanted to move on from Nassau, especially with how her job was being destroyed by Woodes Rogers. His war on Nassau's vices was likely damaging Anne's livelihood, and there was nothing she could do about it. Seeing an opportunity, she, along with Mary, helped Rackham steal William and set sail. At
God,
first,
this is so interesting. I'm like not wanting to do my math homework anymore. I mean, this is one more. 2 by 3. It's okay.
The small size of the crew also probably played a factor.
9.
Anne and Mary proved
3 by.
useful in the 2-month-long crime spree, from passing gunpowder to gunners, all the way to directly being involved in plundering. Despite being a pirate, it seems unlikely that Anne ever killed anyone
Bye-bye.
during her time with Rackham. or even before that. Anne's attire would have been a typical jacket, wide trousers.
I
and
just
a
guessed.
tie. She would
Nice.
likely not have worn
Okay.
any shoes. It was common for sailors to walk barefoot. During those boarding actions, she would have
Yeah,
carried
they would get like really bad like
and
feet
probably a
stuff,
flintlock pistol
like
in
diseases.
holsters. During calmer moments, Anne and Mary changed from pirates' regalia to probably
Ooh, I don't know.
war in Nassau.
mean-
They possibly still acted as prostitutes during those moments. Judging from how far along both women were in
25
November,
thirds?
Anne and
I
Mary
mean,
probably became pregnant in August, just before
25
after
thirds?
stealing the William. They also may have performed more traditional womanly roles, such as cleaning clothing
Uh-huh.
or mending the sails. I think Anne trying to kill Dorothy Thomas was not out of some bloodlust,
Mm-hmm.
but as a precautionary move coming from someone who knew how to survive. She knew a witness who would likely doom them to hang for all eternity, which turned
Yeah.
out to be a correct assumption. So there you have it. A dark 20 to 30 some English
And
prostitute turned pirate who was tough but was not a violent maniac. I very well may be wrong, but as I said, it is the best guess I have from what little we have. Looking at all the media depictions of her, none really come close to this. There have been depictions of her that are reasonably accurate, like in the History Channel's documentary, True Caribbean Pirates.
Mhm.
That version made Anne into a fierce 20-some brunette, but she is clearly Irish. The most accurate appearance is ironically Jean Peters in Anne of the Indies. Nothing about the character is accurate to Anne except the clothing, which is nearly spot on somehow. Truth be
Yeah.
told, I doubt you will ever see a depiction of Anne Bonny close to this.
Mm-hmm.
The mythology is too intertwined to ever undo. It is a more fun story if you imagine a beautiful
Yeah.
Irish girl with a big heart singing traditional Celtic.
No, I got it was the answer. It was wrong.
But none of this
It was.
is nearly
I hate this so fucking much.
It is par
It was
for
like
the course,
53 over
really,
6,
as the old saying
but I
goes,
got 35 over 3.
print the legend.
Hate this so fucking much. Wait, that was 35. 8 by 5 is 40 over.
Now that we have at least a slight grasp as to who Anne
Mhm.
Bonny was, we can finally examine the great mystery surrounding her. What happened to her? This is obviously a question that continues to bring
Okay, 20 out of 3.
as there is no shortage of theories.
Mm-hmm.
One obvious theory is that in the end, both women were hanged. Perhaps they were not pregnant, or more likely, they were executed after giving birth.
No.
While this would explain
No.
why they were never seen again,
No.
there is a
20 out of
significant
3.
there exist records
40 out of
of trials held in
6.
Jamaica. Rackham's execution was without a doubt held on November 18th, 1720. Other trials and executions continued long after Anne and Mary's trial on November 28th. Rackham's old captain, Charles Vane, was hanged on March 29th, 1721, and again, this was documented. You could try and say the information was lost following the 1722 hurricane that
It was literally 5 by 6. I don't know why that's the pattern, but that's the pattern.
Executions is more than a
It's
little
5 by the number
I
that.
feel we can
It's
safely
a
say
fucking
this
number.
theory has been debunked. There is
Why
another possible
3?
theory that explains Anne's disappearance. This theory proposes that Anne Bonny may have been transferred to a British naval vessel, perhaps to be executed elsewhere. This ship proceeded to sink in some great storm, killing all aboard. While this would answer why she was not executed,
Nice.
again, there would be documentation of a ship transfer. A missing or lost ship would be written down as well. Also, I can't think of a single case of a convicted pirate being put on a ship to be executed elsewhere. No, executions universally happened wherever the court was held. A transfer would only happen before the trial. For example, William Kidd was taken from New York to London before his trial, not after. Another theory, and it is flimsy, is that Anne managed to escape captivity. Look, the woman was described as capable and tough, but this is more than a little hard to believe. This one woman was going to take on the entire garrison of Port Royal with British
Right.
warships in the harbor, and the whole population of Jamaica,
Negative
who at this point
64.
viewed her as a violent criminal. I would sooner believe Jack Sparrow suddenly appearing with an army of ghost pirates
Right.
than this theory. Not to mention, nobody ever claimed to have seen Anne or Mary, for that matter, after the trial.
Mm-hmm.
This theory is, albeit hilariously, debunked. One frankly outrageous theory is that Anne managed to get out somehow and returned to piracy.
Oh, wow.
I cannot stress this enough.
Yeah.
Nobody ever claimed to see her again. Even if she ran into a friend or someone she knew, a female pirate on the open ocean would be hard to miss.
Right.
whether you're a pirate or the Royal Navy. The only way she could have continued such a career would be if she disguised herself as a man, and we already proved that never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Adding to the absurdity of it all, it was once claimed that she ended her pirate career by becoming a nun. Yes, because
Wow.
pirates were well known for becoming members of the church. Let us just say this theory overall is quite a stretch. Now, here comes probably the most famous theory, and it is one that you will find sometimes accepted in places of academia, such as Oxford University, and popular websites such as Wikipedia. It is the family rescue theory, and it is very much a doozy. This theory is the perfect example of what history looks like when played through a game of telephone.
Yeah.
Over the many years following Anne Bonny's disappearance, she became a highly romanticized character, mostly because of her gender. A common theme of Anne's story became one of dashing romance on the high seas. She became the archetypal female pirate, possibly inspiring such literary figures as Fanny Campbell. One of these romance novels is called Mistress of the Seas, published in 1964 by John Carlova. It was basically a fictional story, but Carlova claimed to have found new documentation about Anne's life. Carlova conveniently never did show these documents to anyone during his lifetime. Also, despite supposedly having documents, this Anne Bonny suspiciously acts with the values of the 1960s and not the 1720s.
Right.
Carlova tried to skirt around the issue by saying when viewed in the framework of her own time, Anne Bonny was not that different from the independent women of the 1960s. Carlova added a lot to Anne's story, from an American Indian friend named Charlie Fourfeathers to Anne attempting to rescue the historical pirate Stede Bonnet from his real-life 1718 execution. One very notable claim by Carlova was that her parents were named William Cormac and Peg Brennan. This would be a difficult assertion to make, given that Ireland did not have a civil registration system of tracking births until 1864. Before then, births were recorded in parish registries, which are often vague and were frequently lost.
Yeah,
To this day, nobody has
big.
ever found those names in a parish registry. Still, these names caught on like wildfire, leading to some claiming those names came from Captain Charles Johnson's book, which is false. He never identified Anne's parents. Carlova also added that Mary Read died in prison, but Anne was subsequently saved by a dashing Virginian named Michael Radcliffe, who she marries and spent the rest of her life with. This story was regurgitated countless times over the next few decades, with yet more dubious details added each time. In 2000, a book by Tamara Eastman and Constance Bond called The Trial of Anne Bonny and Mary Read was released. The book claimed to have discovered evidence that William Cormac had paid off Governor Sir Nicholas.
I did all my homework by just guessing.
Gets married to a man named James Burleigh, has 8 children, and lives all the way up until 1782. Eastman and Bond's book also repeated a lot of the information written.
Because I'm not gonna show anything off.
With the only notable difference being
Literally 95. My grade did not go down or up a percentage.
Eastman and Bond claim they found this information from documents belonging to Anne's descendants.
Out of here.
But nobody.
Okay, so now I'm gonna get more into this, right?
20 years since the book was
So, like,
Eastman
you know, I guess this is more. See, this is why I love these guys. This is why I love these guys. Just, I mean, he's taking more like the video essay sort of, right? He's taking view like the historical account, then like I guess like the court accounts, then like the more like a hearsay, and now this is the more romanticized or like modern accounts of we found a new document, right? Which is amazing.
Suspicious, if you ask.
In my opinion, it's an amazing structure.
These claims were eventually repeated by well-reputed historians, leading to it being labeled.
No, this is just me taking everything he's saying at face value, right?
Biography is just one of many trustworthy sources that contain these ridiculous claims. To this day, many people assume Anne Bonny was rescued by her father, even though her father's name came from a fictional novel.
Yeah.
Anne's actual family identity is not definitively known and will likely remain this way forever. While highly influential, this theory is about as accurate as Anne Bonny fighting off the Royal Navy. It is, without question, not true and thus debunked.
Yeah.
A less deranged theory is that governor laws merely let Anne go after giving birth to her child. Mercy for her gender and nothing else. For a theory like this, it helps to look at the trials of other female pirates to see if mercy was commonly given. And the results are interesting. In August of 1729, 6 pirates were convicted and sentenced to hang in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Interesting.
One of the 6 was an English woman named Mary
Mhm.
Critchett. The 5 other men were hanged, but while she was convicted, there is no record of Mary Critchett ever being hanged.
Mm-hmm.
Another
Yeah, it was
woman
that
being
rules,
tried
huh?
for piracy was Martha Farley, but she managed to be found innocent at her
Mhm.
trial. On the other hand, there was an incident where 30 female criminals joined the crew of pirate captain Richard Worley,
Uh-huh.
hoping to find husbands. When Worley was captured, he and his crew were executed in Charlestown. The 30 women were also hanged. So,
Oh, wow.
on how female pirates were treated during the Golden Age
Yeah,
was relatively
Jesus.
mixed.
Okay, that's
Possible
interesting.
Anne was treated more like Farley or Critchett than Worley's woman.
You would imagine they were treated like, oh, let
These
loose
last
or
two
something.
theories are probably
Unless
wrong.
like they committed some
The first
really
theory
heinous
requires
act.
some context, however. While Anne Bonny's fate is famously mysterious, virtually all historians agree with what happened to Mary Read. Captain Charles Johnson claims she fell ill and died in prison. It is also possible she died of pregnancy-related complications. While the court documents make no mention of either possibility, both are reasonable to assume. Prisons were notoriously filthy, and
Yeah.
pregnancy-related deaths were quite common throughout history up to the 20th century. Mary's death is generally given to be around April 1721. This date is said to come from a parish registry at St. Catherine's Church in Spanish Town that claimed
Interesting.
Mary was buried on April 28th. I, along with most people, blindly believed this, until I looked around the internet trying to find this document. In
And there
fact,
was none?
is no mention
Oh my
of
God.
Mary's burial at any church in Spanish Town. I checked historian after historian's books, and they all seem to be either quoting each other or some obscure historian named Clinton V. Black, which is not helpful.
Oh my God.
I've seen
Oh my
pictures of the
God.
document as being in St. Catherine's Parish and St.
That is insane. Dude, this is why academia needs to fucking Jesus. And like I guess like historians also need to like they need to stop making shit up. At least the earlier ones fucking made shit up without like anybody finding out because like this is bad.
Catherine's Church.
Oh
To be
my.
specific, a parish is
I
a
mean, it's
Jamaican
not like-
unit of local government, not just
You know,
a
it's not
church.
like, oh my god, this changes my
This
view on
confusing
everything, right?
me
Because
because a
it's
lot of
obviously
government
happened in
Jamaica was
books.
done through the
It
church.
obviously happens in
There's
books.
not even a St. Catherine's
Because, you
Church.
know, we only give perspective to
I
the
also
winner,
cannot
right?
find a photo of Mary Read's
Oftentimes.
grave anywhere in Jamaica.
In like history books, like for example in
Personally,
U.S.
some
history,
claim that Mary
we're the
Read's
winners,
death was
ooh.
sandboxed
But
prison
like,
document
you know,
from
in
Port Royal.
British history, it's probably like, you know, British
The
history
date also
through the
seems to
perspective of
weirdly
like,
change.
and a good
Sometimes it is
and
the
a
8th,
positive
sometimes
perspective
it is
of like
13th,
British history, right?
sometimes it is the
Not
20th.
like, oh, we did this and that.
Finally, in desperation, I
You know, the
emailed
bad
the
parts.
National Library of Jamaica.
Dude,
hoping
at
to
least that's how it's
find
taught here in
a
America. Like,
document
oh,
or
we
a
did
piece of
slavery.
evidence.
At least
I
it's taught
received
well,
an answer from them.
but like
They said
it
to
depends
visit
on like
the
what state you go to.
website and
Some
for
states just straight up
documents.
are like, yeah, we did
They
slavery.
even
That's it, and
cited,
then they
among
move
other
on.
things, a 1934 fictional novel about Mary Read, a 1988
It's
children's
horrible.
book, and a 1973 book published by Miss Magazine. The magazine famously founded by the influential feminist Gloria Steinem. So I concluded at this point after rigorous research that no such document existed.
Yeah.
So we have no proof that Mary Read even died in prison outside of Captain Charles Johnson's own words. And we know how reliable he was. Why does
Yeah.
this matter, one could ask? Because weirdly, I trust.
I like how they
Captain
use this
Charles
like
less
I guess like
Yes, he emblemishes a lot.
this portrait of him, this
This
dark portrait
A
of
good
him.
example is his writings about the death of Blackbeard.
Mhm.
His story contradicts Lieutenant Robert Maynard's first-hand account in several points by adding flowery speeches and details on moment-to-moment actions. But Blackbeard is dead at the end of the day. When Johnson was writing about actual people instead of fictional characters he created, he did not tend to dream up giant naval battles or the deaths of people who did not die. Perhaps he had consulted with the guard at Port Royal who told him that Mary Read died. His book
Yeah.
really says she died of a fever. Nothing more than that. This lack of documentation matters because it would possibly mean Mary Read died in prison and nobody wrote down anything denoting this fact.
Dang.
It means Anne Bonny could have suffered the very same fate, leading to no documentation of her death as well. This would mean both women died in prison and were quickly buried in unmarked graves. This would
Jeez.
explain why neither was seen nor heard from again. Now, is this the most likely theory as to what happened to Anne Bonny? Well, no. because
Uh-huh.
I have saved the best theory and revelation for last.
Okay.
This theory came from Tony Bartlemy directly.
Mhm.
He proposed a theory that perhaps Anne Bonny was released due to her child.
Mhm.
Maybe Governor Laws, sympathetic to a pregnant woman, made a deal with her, promising never to return to piracy and your
Okay.
life shall be spared. This would be strictly off the books, although likely an open secret.
Mhm.
Anne would have probably returned to just being a common prostitute. The type of person who would never leave a paper trail and would
Mhm.
never be seen again by people who knew her. This once again hangs on the notion of the British
Okay.
Empire taking mercy on a pirate, which certainly is not verified.
Yeah.
But there is one major piece of evidence that points to this being exactly what happened.
Mhm.
But first, let me tell you a story. I was about to conclude that Anne Bonny had probably died tragically in prison with her friend. When I bought the book, most historians and writers were quoting the claim of Mary Read's burial registry
Mhm.
comes up. Clinton v. Black's Pirates of the West Indies, which was published in 1989. The particular page people like historian David Cordingley and journalist Colin Woodard were citing came with no sources, but Black used the phrase Parish Registry of Burials of St. Catherine.
Yeah.
I noticed that the name was written a bit differently compared to the usual phrase of St. Catherine's Church or
Yeah.
parish. I searched for this phrase on the internet, which took me to a specific genealogy website.
Uh-huh.
To my complete astonishment, I found a document from the Jamaican Church of England Parish Register listing burials in 1721. The only burial for April 28th was that of a woman named Mary Read, with the
Oh,
word
wow.
pirate right next to her name. This document was authentic. Historians had been just quoting it wrong. So now I can prove...
Holy shit! Hey historians! Hey people from fucking history! Quote this video instead! Holy shit!
that Mary Read died in prison and was buried on April 28th,
Mhm.
1721.
Holy
I
shit!
cannot confirm anything else about
Mhm.
her, but this is still an important discovery.
Yeah.
This discovery left me at a crossroads. The entirely plausible theory that Anne Bonny died in prison was now quite unlikely.
Yeah.
Out of curiosity, I searched through the Church of England register, looked for evidence that Anne, like Mary, had been buried in Jamaica.
Mhm.
It was mostly for laughs. I did not expect to find the mother lode of lost documents, finally solving one of the most enduring pirate mysteries. Except, I did. Tucked
Oh
away
my
into one of those
god.
documents
Oh
was
damn,
a
this is getting
secret
good. What the
Anne
fuck?
Bonny. This woman was buried on December 29th, 1733, in St.
Mhm.
Catherine's Parish, Jamaica. The most likely spot of the burial was St. Iago de la
Mhm.
Vega Cathedral, affectionately called the Red Church.
Uh-huh.
This cathedral is also likely the place Mary Read was buried. There was no direct family listed, implying this woman seemed to have died alone, without
Mhm.
a husband, child, or parents. Is this the same for the legendary Anne Bonny, the world's most famous female pirate? I
Mhm.
would say quite possibly. The spelling is a significant hint. Most documents that mention Anne call her Anne without an E. There
Mhm.
are other women buried in Jamaica with the name Anne Bonny, but they are
Mhm.
all either interred before 1720 or a far-off date like 1793.
Yeah.
It does not say what her occupation was or what happened to her child, but it lines up with what Tony Bartlemy proposed.
Mhm.
Let go from prison and faded away into obscurity. It just seems like she never left Jamaica, choosing instead to make a living there. Can this theory be proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Mhm.
No, but it is highly convincing and has some real documented evidence
Yeah.
to support it. Most people tend to believe the family rescue theory because of the romantic ending to her story. The notion
Mhm.
of Anne being rescued by a soon-to-be husband and reconciling with a stern father, living out her days to the 1780s, witnessing the beginning of the British Empire's end before passing away, is a lovely story.
Yeah, but it's not
Ironically, her actual
what
death
actually
would
happened.
not have been that far removed from
Mhm.
that legend. This is what I think may have happened if this is indeed the burial record of the pirate Anne Bonny. Mary
Mhm.
Read dies tragically in April of 1721. Governor Sir Nicholas Law sees a pregnant woman rotting in jail. Distraught that
Yeah.
her close friend had died, takes pity on her. He makes a deal with Anne never to return to piracy and you will be
Mhm.
set free. Anne leaves prison and goes back to being a local prostitute in Jamaica. It is
Mhm.
entirely possible that she was forced to stay in Jamaica as part of the agreement.
Yeah.
The agreement was probably verbal and not written down. It's impossible for the wealthy or other high-ranking individuals of Jamaica to not know about it.
Mhm.
So it wouldn't be like Anne was on the run. It would
Yeah.
have been very much understood that this former criminal was now free by order of the governor. Anne's child's
Mhm.
fate is unknown. It is possible the child died or that the British government took custody of the baby and put
Mhm.
him or her in a foster home. Anne spent the next 12 years living an obscure life, unrecorded and unnoticed. It was not as luxurious as Henry Morgan's life had been on the same island decades prior, but
Mhm.
for Anne, living was probably good enough. Jamaica was a massive slave-based colony, so being a
Yeah.
white prostitute was actually not even close to the lowest level of society. She probably worked and lived
Mhm.
in Kingston, where most of the sailors spent their money. Kingston had a reputation for drunk and violent sailors. In some
Jeez.
respects, it was quite a bit like Nassau had been before the British Empire reclaimed it.
Mhm.
Kingston wasn't much better off than the rest of the island, however. Jamaica as a whole was considered one of the worst places to live in the British Empire. Perhaps Anne was one of the few who felt home in this wretched place.
Okay, that is
due to
very
how often
interesting.
colonists died on the island, plus the important
Mhm.
value of a youngish white woman. It's not out of the realm of possibility that Anne was for a time married to someone, although no
Yeah.
marriage record exists. If she was married, the marriage was dissolved by the time of her
Mhm.
death. Anne lived long enough to see the golden age of piracy come to an end in 1730. Hell, Anne even lived long enough to see Captain Charles Johnson write her legend. If
Yeah.
she ever read it, that is. If she could read it, Anne was probably much amused by how inaccurate it was. On July
Mhm.
15th, 1732, Anne likely would have learned that an old enemy of hers has died. In the
Mhm.
years following Anne's arrest, life had been pretty terrible for Woodes Rogers.
Mhm.
Instead of being hailed as a hero, he was removed as governor of the Bahamas and even thrown in jail due to unpaid
Jeez.
debt. After getting out of jail, Rogers' entire career was single-handedly saved by the publication of General History of the Pirates. Since
Mhm.
the book championed his efforts to end piracy, he became a national hero once again.
Yeah.
The new king, George II, even made him governor of the Bahamas again in
Mhm.
1728, but failing health eventually caught up to him.
Mhm.
Governor Woodes Rogers died from poor health at age 53. Anne Bonny had managed to outlive the man who had done so much to end piracy in the Caribbean. It's unlikely she would have any kind words to say about him.
Yeah.
During her last few months of life in 1733, she might have reflected on how everyone she had sailed with, along with almost every notable pirate of the era, was long gone. Killed by
Mhm.
battle, the noose, and nature's own fury. At this point in her life, Anne probably moved back to Spanish Town. It was
Yeah.
a smaller, quieter place than Kingston, an excellent place to rest if sick. While in
Mhm.
Spanish Town, she likely got in good graces with a church, judging by
Yeah.
the burial record. A church-going prostitute was probably not uncommon, but it's not entirely clear what her motivations
Mhm.
would have been. Genuine penance for her crimes of piracy and prostitution? Merely hoping to secure a place in heaven as she
Probably
was
not.
as she would know. Regardless of the
Yeah.
outcome, she succeeded in securing a burial on consecrated ground.
Uh-huh.
What actually killed Anne Bonny is up for debate. Any number of ailments could prove fatal on an island like Jamaica.
Yeah.
Whether it was an outbreak of an infectious disease like yellow fever, an all-year-round illness like malaria, or
Mhm.
something related to her profession. It's impossible to say definitively.
Mhm.
Mortality rates in Jamaica for colonists were infamously terrible due to these diseases. Other possible
Yeah.
causes include alcoholism or tuberculosis. There exists no tombstone record for an Anne Bonny at the cathedral. Whether this
Mhm.
means she was buried in an unmarked grave with others recently deceased, or if the marker and papers were lost, is sadly impossible
Yeah.
to verify. Regardless, even if she knew her final resting place was to be marked or not, Anne was probably at peace in her
Mhm.
last few days on Earth. As she lay, dying that cold December day, Anne Bonny probably had one thought on her mind. She
Mhm.
did not die in a blaze of glory like Blackbeard or Bartholomew Roberts. Neither did she pay for
Yeah.
her crimes in the way John Rackham or William Kidd had. But she succeeded in doing something none of those legends could do. Anne Bonny managed to escape the law and live
Mhm.
out the rest of her life. Just like Henry Every, the pirate everyone wanted to emulate. So that was the tale
Yeah.
of Anne Bonny. We managed to dig deep into the ground
Holy
and uncover
hell.
the truth in several spots. And we might have unearthed the greatest treasure of them all. Almost everything has
Mhm.
been said about Anne Bonny, except for maybe this. Since 1720, Anne Bonny has been used a proxy for nearly every belief imaginable, as something
Okay.
we should or should not aspire to be,
Mhm.
and just about everything in between. Looking back and judging the type of
I
person
guess
she
just that,
was
right?
is
Yeah.
difficult. On the one hand,
You
she
know,
was,
like-
as the British said, an enemy
Yeah.
of all nations, a criminal who got through her
exactly, like, you know, she was probably perceived as bad by like everybody for like time to, or excuse me, for like a while or a time, right? Like I wouldn't say like even 100 years later she was still like seen as bad, right? But like I guess like once like the interpretations in the '60s are like, oh, you know, like she was actually a super awesome woman icon, right? Which I wouldn't doubt,
Brief career
because she
on
was
the
definitely
the people
you know,
freaked out.
grinding against the grain,
They
right?
saw a
Of
violent
what it meant to
female
be
pirate
as
who would kill them in a heartbeat.
what it meant to be a what
On the
it
other hand,
meant to
what
be
people
as a
encouraged the
woman.
pyro was the
That
greatest
sounds
power of
wrong.
all, conquering and
What it meant to be a
taking
woman.
profit,
She was grinding
exploitation,
against
and
that
power.
grain, right?
One could look at
You know what I'm
Anne
saying?
through those lenses and see a woman who managed to live
Mhm.
an independent life
Yeah.
many women dreamed of, even if it was for a fleeting amount of time.
Mhm.
She also never killed anyone, unlike other pirates like Bartholomew Roberts. It is wise not to romanticize piracy,
Yeah.
but it needs to be said that Anne was not the 18th century equivalent of a serial killer.
Mhm.
To call Anne Bonny a good or bad person is simplistic. Perhaps in this
Yeah.
case, we should look beyond good and evil. She was a simple human being, with
Mhm.
beliefs, aspirations, and surrounded by people who cared about her. Her actions may not have been unique, but
Mhm.
she managed to make her mark on history all the same. Yes, she never conquered a treasure ship full of gold, nor was she a true pirate queen. But in a way, she found the greatest treasure any pirate could have hoped for: immortality. A pirate
Whoa,
closest here was
right?
Blackbeard himself, a name that has survived the ravages of time and will undoubtedly live on,
Yeah.
never to be forgotten. She even lived long enough to see this legend begin and grow. I wonder what she would think of the long shadow she now casts across popular culture. Before we go,
Mhm.
let us raise the parting glass to a true pirate legend and softly say, good night, and joy be with you all.
Good night, may joy be with you all. Oh, it's 10:57. Oh my god. Well then, thank you all for joining me today. Today was hectic, right? I didn't have much in store. I had to do some homework, some quick maths. And that went well. So I'll see you all. Probably not tomorrow. Probably not. Actually, after Friday I can. Actually, on Friday I can. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna be like, right? I'm gonna be like, oh my god, guys, oh my god, guys, I know what I got. So yeah, I'll see you guys probably on Friday, then Saturday and on. I pretty much stream every day. So good night, good day, whatever it is, everybody, and good night, good day, whatever it is again. And thank you for furtively for coming by. And you know, yeah, thank you all so much for coming by. And good night. Bye, everybody.